Yes, he destroy black boys. If you destroy him as a boy, he'll never become a man. Yes, he destroy black boys. If you destroy him as a boy, he'll never become a man. Yes, he destroy black boys. If you destroy him as a boy, he'll never become a man.
For what he has, he says that the only way that we can solve our problem is to unite together among ourselves, among our own kind, clean ourselves up, rid ourselves of the evils that we've become addicted to here in this society, and try and...
Off my dome, this is actually taught by the people who are ancestors of the Mayans in
to the east, to the north, to the west, to the south, above, below, and the middle. To the east, to the north, to the west, to the south, above, below, and the center. Greetings. This is Big Pontiac, and welcome to the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am the holder of the infinite sacred ball game that was created by the Hero Twins, and I am that one and only Galactic Daddy-O, welcoming each and every one of you to my galactic patio that reaches from Minnesota to the universe. And And as always, tonight's beer is Kalamazoo Stout. So pop, this is like my hometown beer. I've told the story many times about Larry Bell that owns Kalamazoo Brewing. Or what is the hell is it called? Bell's Beer. And so pop them if you got them. And we got this nice, look at that, pint glass from Goose Island that's in Chicago. And you look at all this just knowing I'm getting this great stout from Kalamazoo. Everybody knows how to do the Kalamazoo rag. Everybody's doing the Kalamazoo rag. Yeah, some Bugs Bunny shit there. And tonight, because I am on one, we are, so smoke them if you want them, or just simply eat one of these. That's where we're at with it, y'all. And I see that some primetime players are in here. Some primetime players have come join the pimp. And tonight, PJ Allen.
My bitches. You saying you can't control your bitches? What?
Maseo, thank you for joining.
My bitches. You saying you can't control your bitches? What?
Bishop McBone.
My bitches. You saying you can't control your bitches? What?
And to watch me, you got to have.
Got to have vision.
You only gonna have.
Got to have vision.
If you watch me, you have.
Got to have vision.
And as always.
Ask you something? I said, can I ask you something? Ain't I'm clean?
Well, Bootsy say, head, shoulders, cause I'm on. Y'all know that. What's going on, PJ? I just get off my marathon of watching hockey, 7th game hockey. Hockey on them. And as always, we got to bring y'all the news of what these Europeans is doing up here. Whoa, didn't want all that, didn't ask for all that. Why you doing all that? There we go. And you know what's going on up here? It ain't changed. And let's see what they got to say about it. Here we go. Let's go. You know what's going on up here? Cause I'm on.
Story less than a week ago. Fox 9's Rose Schmidt checked back.
I have to admit, I like her for some reason. I've been watching her for years. I like her for some reason. But let's go.
Back in with them today as rivers recede now across the state.
None of Minnesota's rivers are at major flood stage anymore. The Crow River is quickly receding, and that is welcome news to people who are near its path.
It's kind of a scary situation, but a blessing.
When your beautiful yard is surrounded by floodwaters, it's not normally a time for celebration.
If it had been like the all-time record flood, then we'd be having this conversation in a boat right now.
But Patrick and Carol Shanahan can't help it as they consider what could have happened to their Independence farmhouse.
This house was built 110 years ago, okay?
Yeah, that ain't, even on the lake, okay, go ahead, let's hear it.
They were smarter back then than we tend to give them credit for, I think.
As the Crow River continues to recede, so does what these homeowners have dubbed Lake Shanahan, the water that essentially made their home an island.
There is this kind of sense of dread you get because of that. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know when really it's going to stop. And it's just the opposite when the water starts to go down. Then you kind of get that immense sense of relief.
That relief evident when you look at video of how high the floodwaters were 6 days ago, the last time Fox 9 visited the Shanahans, when their gardens were underwater and County Road 92 was closed.
We had been able to charge a toll for people turning around in our driveway. We'd be rich.
The road toward Minnetrista is now back open, but the road to recovery still has a few bumps ahead.
This section back here, it might be a month before we can do anything with that because the water will go away, but underneath it's going to be spongy and swampy for a long time.
But that same water made their yard a wildlife sanctuary for a few weeks, and they count that as just another blessing with every day that passes.
You wake up in the morning, you look outside, you say, that's lower. Yeah. It's going down. That's it.
That's what these Europeans are dealing with up here, and many others. And this is the main problem here, is right here.
Minneapolis driver.
Yeah, this is the main problem right here, that you can actually, this is one of the things that goes into license plates. Because when license plates was first issued, they would sue the state when they had accidents. Because they're saying, you the ones that gave us these plates, so you the ones we sue. Right now, if you get a pothole here in Minneapolis, you can sue technically the state.
Owned the city's potholes for months, but have road conditions gotten any better? WCCO's David Schuman went looking to find out.
It hurts just to hear it.
They gotta get some money and fix this. It sucks, but we get around.
Lake Harriet Parkway has been turning drivers' knuckles white all year.
There's a lot of them, and especially around the Lake Boulevard.
Riddled with potholes, super rough. Unusually, I mean, very unusual.
Tom pulled his SUV off for fear of damaging an axle. He worries what the roads say to newcomers.
If we want to attract people to this city, think of people who are coming in to see, our jewels, our lake system, the lakes around the state, the Mall of America, all of that stuff. That's a very poor first impression.
The city promised 200 permanent pothole repairs a day once warmer weather came around. And until then, crews were using an asphalt and gravel mixture for a temporary fix.
On my block, when the snow melted, there was a giant pothole and they filled it this week.
One of the busier streets that has seen noticeable improvement is Hennepin Avenue. If you're driving south toward Lake Street, you'll see a lot of the holes have been patched up.
Yeah, I've seen a few places, but not as much that we'd like to see.
There's been a lot of patching this spring, but no real reconstruction.
Drivers say, do better.
I wonder where the tax money goes.
Potholes are a fact of Minnesota life. They always have been, but this is outstanding in its badness.
David Schuman, WCCO News.
We reached out to the city today for a progress report.
Yeah, it's a crappy dam. That is definitely a crappy dam. You got to pay attention so you don't fuck up your suspension. So, these white folks but they're trying to, we got somebody, y'all. They got him, y'all. They got him. And let me show you who they got. Cause I'm on. Now, Macbone, let me see. PJ says last night that flower, let me see what he said. PJ says last night that flower hit me. I heard you saying y'all not ready for this. God damn it. Y'all not ready for this. And you shut it down. I was like with Catholics run this stuff? I don't know, but thank you for joining me.
My bitches. You saying you can't control your bitches?
Big Pontiac, and I am Jaguar, the avatar of the Black Jaguar, the wise, the master teacher of the sacred ball game and the Time Lord sacred Palladium, and close friends. And we give you the Jaguar energy, the energy of transformation. This is the energy of transformation, y'all. This is the point. And they say there is no point. Well, this is the point right here. This is the energy they don't want you to achieve. They don't want you to achieve this Jaguar transformational energy. They don't want you to be at a ship shape. They want you to think that the dragon or whatever is already in you. No. You take the energy and bring it inside of you, and you use it as long as you need it. And then when it's not needed, you put it aside. That's all. Flood waters, the ancient thunder beings. The thunders want justice. That's overdue. Right on. And finally says the big Pontiac, I will email you and Sly schedule time in which 3 of us will be on the Universal and Super Saiyan live. Okay, bet. So we giving that to all y'all. Take that energy, y'all. That is a transformation. But we got more going up here. You know, these Europeans is just going crazy. So let's hear what they got to say.
Jackie Little was arrested Saturday night. He's federally charged with arson and believed to be seen in this surveillance video after setting fires in 2 Minneapolis mosques last week while people, including children, were inside at the time. WCCO's Marielle Mose learns of the multi-agency effort to make the arrest.
As far as I'm concerned, we are going to assume that this is motivated by hate, this is motivated by bias.
Chief Brian O'Hara confidently called these 2 recent fires at South Minneapolis mosques hate crimes. Despite the motive still being under investigation by the FBI, Jackie Little was arrested for arson on Saturday night in Mankato. Chief O'Hara says Little was heading to a mental health facility at the time. That transport was overseen by the Blue Earth County Sheriff's Office, who helped connect the dots.
The attentiveness of a dispatcher realized that this was the person that we were interested in making an arrest.
It has been a huge relief to learn that this person has been apprehended.
Jaylani Hussein is the executive director of the Minnesota Council on American Islamic Relations, better known as CARE. He says these 2 fires in 1 week spread a sense of fear.
Yes, there was an attack on a mosque, but it really was an attack on the entire community. People felt unease.
Hussein says he's thankful so many law enforcement agencies came together to put an end to those fears.
The chief's words and actions have been remarkable.
Even though we have this person into custody, we will ensure that we do continue to have enhanced patrols around all houses of worship.
In Minneapolis, Marielle Mose, WCCO News.
CARE Minnesota tells us thanks to donations, they're now able to hire a full-time safety professional who will work with the 9.
Say security? They're going to bring in security. Wow. Okay. What else you Europeans got going? I saw something. Ooh, we want this. Oh, no, let's listen. Well, I think we can have both. I love this kind of thing. I'm going to let it go. You do your thing while I do my thing, baby. Oh, breaking news. What is the breaking news? Oh, what? I want to hear that story, not you, dude. Here we go, right here. I want this story. All right, let's go.
While state lawmakers are poised to legalize cannabis in Minnesota, low-level THC edibles, including gummies, chocolates, and drinks, have already been legal for almost a year now.
But when lawmakers legalized that market, they did so without regulating it, creating an unchecked industry with virtually no accountability. Tonight, Fox 9 investigator Nathan O'Neill puts the marketplace to the test, exposing holes in the system that could leave you at risk.
Yeah, well, here's the truth. Right now, the state of Minnesota has no idea how many companies are actually selling these products. But what is clear, some Minnesotans have already fallen victim to this unregulated industry, and in more ways than one.
Is this propaganda?
It's the precursor to marijuana in Minnesota.
You had no idea what was in it? No.
An unregulated industry of THC products with no rules, no constraints, and no accountability.
It's the Wild West.
The Fox 9 investigators give...
This is propaganda, because that's not true. If you read, okay, let me show you. They say it's not regulated. This shit right here comes from the Food and Drug Administration. Everything is on the back. So for them to say this shit is unregulated and it can just say anything, I'm not even going to give you the rest of this story. Fuck them. There's some propagandists. And let me say, the thing that stopped weed from being legal here is people that live in the least populated part of Minneapolis. This is a very unpopulated state. All the people live where I live. 3.5, there's only 5 million people, I think, in this state. So all the people live in where I live. And the people that have blocked legalizing marijuana live what's called the Iron Range, a very dense place. And you know what the biggest thing those people drug they have? They're crystal meth. It's not even weed, it's crystal meth. And so you got all these Republicans that live in these sparse populated areas. And their argument is, well, people get high, they'll come out here and bother us. Now we know who goes out there and lives on and does the kind of work in these mines and these cheese places, milk places. It ain't brothers and sisters. So, yeah, this was some propaganda. I'm sorry. Now, what is this? Oh, no, that's not what I was going for.
A looming threat tonight to Minnesota's.
Oh, it's something is a threat. All right, right here. This is some shit. This is some shit, right? Whoops. Yeah. Whoops. Sorry. This is some shit right here that just doesn't make sense. Really doesn't. But let's go. You got to get the people what they want. The people want to know what these Europeans is tripping on out here.
Smashed a window and door at the Lost Fox in the Lower Town neighborhood early Friday morning. As WCCO's Kirsten Mitchell shows us, the community is now rallying behind them.
Lost Fox in Lower Town St. Paul serves more than food, cocktails, and coffee, but also community. It's shown up in a big way after they were hit with the fourth break-in since opening just a year ago.
It's like, how many times can you continue to do this before something has to change?
Early Friday morning, thieves shattered 2 windows, leaving several $1,000s in damage.
This whole thing was just shattered in glass and stickers everywhere. We don't have anything to take, so it's fruitless on their point. They're not getting anything, they're just causing a ton of damage.
Owner Annie Rose says she's tired.
We can put film.
Dang, what happened?
The extra security, we can do that. Maybe we need to put a security guard down here. I don't know what it is, what we have to do, but eventually it's too exhausting.
Right next door to the Lost Fox is Urban Walk. The thieves also broke in here early in the morning. You can see shattering that front glass door. They also stole several iPads and beer.
Across the street is Union Depot, where people experiencing homelessness often gather.
Now, when you heard beer, it wasn't me. So I know some of you smart asses out there like Big Pontiac probably got that beer. Wasn't me.
Just 12 months. That's what a St. Paul restaurant is dealing with in their first year of business.
Early in the morning, you can see shattering that front glass door. They also stole several iPads and beer.
Across the street is Union Depot, where people experiencing homelessness often gather.
It's kind of conflicting because obviously, I'm worried about my own personal safety, but these people are, they need help.
It's unclear who was involved in the break-ins, but Urban Walk employee MJ Lamotte hopes something is done.
I'd like to see more solutions for the unhoused and
Whoa! Let's relook at that. Whoa!
I'd like to see more solutions for the
Paul restaurant is dealing with.
God damn, that girl was kind of thick. Let's go.
That's what a St. Paul restaurant is dealing.
Not you, weirdo. Ooh, let's see her again.
For the unhoused and addicted.
Damn, she had a fat butt. God damn. See, we can look at that thing.
Done.
I'd like to see.
Whoa! Whoa! Look at her. She's not very cute, but goddamn.
Solutions for the unhoused and addicted community around here, because I think that would actually produce some real results.
You got a fat booty.
Annie wants to be part of the change too, and despite the hurdles, she says Lost Fox isn't going anywhere.
Just the outpouring of love and support of people coming in to show us that they care, that we're here. It makes us feel like that we're actually succeeding in what we set out to do. And why would we change that?
In St. Paul, Kirsten Mitchell, WCCO News.
Yeah, I thought y'all needed to know that. Somebody's attacking the lazy fox, or crazy fox, or something fox. Thought y'all wanted to know that. It was like, man, this is tripping me out. Oh. Yeah, that's boring. That is
a looming threat tonight to Minnesota's Islamic.
Your looming threat.
Many
homeowners describe the difference.
All right, we don't care. I don't care. Excuse me, y'all. This stuff has been funny. This has been funny. It's a very casual day. I don't think anybody was surprised that Golden State won. I don't think that surprises anybody that they won today. Didn't even look like the Kings tried for the most part. Let me see where I'm at. Sorry. There we go. Okay. Move over, Red Rover. All right. It says greatly disrespect on a few panels of highly dysfunctional Negro males and highly dysfunctional Negro females. So furious that I unleashed the fury upon them. Never the Jab. Thank you for joining.
My bitches. You saying you can't control your bitches? What?
Well, you know, like what you have to understand, MacBone, is it comes a point where, I mean, you know, like I say, hey, you off of my cloud. Do you want to lower yourself? You know, do you want to come off your cloud of high vibration to deal in shit? I mean, that's what it's be sometimes. And so, you know, it's like you want to get the message out, but you got to look at who you talking to, who you dealing with. That's all. So, I decided not to be a content creator. I don't want to cast my gems before swine. These goofy males and goofy filmers in the manosphere don't be delay my enlightenment. Indeed. You got to know the audience, know your crowd. And again, I don't really need any validation of anybody. Get my own word out, and if you can hear it, you can hear it. If you don't, move it on. That's all. I'm not about attacking anybody. It's some things that do bother me. I won't lie, but that's just, you know, natural ego. But most of the time, I'm too much doing my thing to know what other people's thing is. So that's why I say, you know, do your thing while I do my thing. Because I don't care what your thing is. I'll let you do your thing. Yeah, a lot of this ain't got nothing to do with me. And that's how I look at it. It's like, what does that got to do with me? And what does that have to do with the message that I hold? So, you know, I don't even put myself in them situations. That's all. Hey, B-Box, what's happening?
My bitches. You saying you can't control your bitches? What?
I mean, people just don't understand what people trying to tell you.
It's cool enough just being cool, like I am, chilling.
That's it. Cooling out, being cool like I am. Woo! Woo! Bruins choked the Panthers after having the most wins. You know what? This is all I gotta say. Hockey is kind of, you know, as I've said many years before, hockey is, out of all the sports, it is clearly, to me, the most entertainment. It's the best fixed entertainment, even better than wrestling. But the one flaw that they have is you can tell when they want a team to win. Because in the overtime, again, I watched both hockey games. The Panthers scored to tie the game with less than a minute left. They pull their goalie, and all of a sudden they score. Now, goes into overtime. Now, the way you look at hockey is, not even rushes. You know, the rushes is kind of like basketball fast breaks. But when you see the puck on one end, you kind of see who's going to win. Because in the overtime, the puck was on the Panthers' end almost the entire overtime. So it was pretty clear that they was going to win. So I thought that was bogus. I thought, again, pulling the goalie, scoring with 49 seconds left, they scored. That was bogus and very fake. And then to see in overtime, you saw that that's who they wanted to win, that they wanted the Panthers to win. So I don't know. Now, I was watching the game going on. They just lost. Yeah, so the Kraken beat the champions last year. Last year was Avalanche won last year. and they just lost Game 7. Because that's what I've been doing. I watch the basketball games and I watch both hockey games. And a little bit of baseball. Twins wasn't playing, and so I watched a little bit of, was Houston and Philly maybe? Yeah, Houston and Philly. Don't know who won that game. Missed it. Yeah, so, you know, you got to think about when you join panels and stuff, you got to think about, am I lowering myself or am I raising myself? You know, what is the information high, you know, high energy information, or is the information, you know, do I have to lower myself? And that's the argument I have with the Tartarians. You know, I have to lower myself to even hear you. And so I can't hear you in my regular self. I have to lower myself to hear you. And you know, again, there's no ciphering. I've already broke that stuff down. So there's no, yeah, I just want to hear you. There's nothing you can really say, but I have to lower myself to hear you if you're a Tartarian. I mean, that's just the way it is. If you've been fooled in thinking that's real, then I lower myself to hear you. That's all. And it made me think that, you know, it's people that they're con men. And there are a lot of con men that, see, a lot of con men out there were Hebrew Israelites. There was a whole group of con men that were Hebrew Israelites. And 3 or 4 years ago, when they wanted to replace the brothers, you know, in New York, Red Pill and them niggas. They wanted to replace them. So these con men who were Hebrew Israelites saw that the American Indian movement was coming. And so what they did, Carmelo, you one of them, they conned some old men that, there's one old man that he uses my family's name. He calls himself Chief Heathcock. He's not a Heathcock. I am. My great-grandmother's name was Dicey Heathcock, so I am a Heathcock, if you dig what I'm saying. I guess she would be my great-great-grandmother. And he says, well, my mother says, well, dude, this is my great-great-grandmother's Dicey Heathcock. It's in books in North Carolina. It's books in Indiana. It's books in Michigan. That's my great-grandmother. So this cat goes and they kind of take over this research that this old man did. And so they con people into sending their equipment, you know, they get computers and stuff. But then I look at them recently and it's like, you're a con man. Everything you've achieved on here was pretty much conning people. You just, you know, because what we saw is, we saw these cats replace the New York cats, and it was scammers replacing them. It's like scammers pushed out a group of scammers so they could scam. And that's what it is. Show me it ain't. But it's like, I don't like to be like Brother Nick, because Brother Nick be down at people whose shit ain't together. But in a way, you got to say, dude, you supposedly got all this, and this is what your presentation is? What, well, you got to beg for more? You got to beg the people to send you more? I ain't had to scam anybody for anything. The only event I had was for the Mitsubishi Mirage. And if you think that 5 people, I named 5 people that did help me, but if you think that they came up with all of it, that's you know, that's not real. They helped. And I'm thankful for all of them of helping. But I ain't coming here, you know, begging. I need a computer. Begging, I need this, I need that. And that's what a lot of these cats had to do. They had to beg. You know, these ex-prisoners that came out starting and saw a way to scam and, you know. But see, what they didn't understand is they got lazy. See, sometimes scammers get lazy and they get comfortable and they don't pay attention to what's going on, you know, in this industry, because this is a type of industry. This is a type of show business, personal show business, I guess you could say. And these cats get lazy. And, you know, you can't keep going to people saying, hey, can everybody help me get this thing? And then your stuff is still shaky looking. Your stuff still, you know, your whole platform is you had to scam people to get what you got. And your shit still ain't clean. I ain't had to scam people with anything. This thing I said about the Mitsubishi Mirage, everybody knows that's for fun. That's for fun. They know that. It's just a way to spoof. Nobody that donated to me felt cheated. It's like, hell, the nigga want a Mitsubishi Mirage? Hey, we'll give you $5 to give you Mitsubishi Mirage. Cool. And I took care of the rest. So the point is, you can't get lazy. And that's the problem with some scammers. They get lazy. They get lazy. And anything they put out there, because they think they're good editors and they put things out there, they think that's it. Then they try to come to you live and you like, wait a minute now. We gave you all this money and this is your presentation? Because a lot of people can't go live. It's confidence. I was going live with a telephone. You know, my daughter broke my computer when I was still using the Yeti mic. The Yeti mic's here on the floor. But ain't one person out there can say I scammed them or they feel bad if they donated to me. And as I was playing about the Mitsubishi Mirage, how many times did I put my stuff out there where you could donate to? Wasn't none of that out there, was it? So no one feels uncomfortable about saying, well, you know, this guy said something and he didn't build the school. He didn't build what he said he's going to do, you know. Some kind people did donate to me getting another automobile. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate that. But none of them that put in and said, well, you know, he scammed us. You're right. I am busy ascending to the level of Tyus. Yeah, there you go. There you go. How do you feel about Warriors versus Lakers? I'll say what Charles Barkley said. Charles Barkley said everybody knows the Lakers are going to be in the finals, then the Western Conference Finals. We'll see. Like, they're trying to keep Steph alive as long as they can keep him healthy. Because Steph has succumbed to what most dudes his size to succumb from, his injuries, trying to stay healthy. So we'll see. Steph, and on the other hand, like, all Steph records should really have an asterisk on them. Because we know he's the most basket manipulated player ever. All his makes, I would say, of Steph's makes, 75% was helped. And you go back even to his college career. And I'll say this about Steph Curry's college career. In my reality, that College of Charleston made the Final Four. Now they tell you they lost to the Sweet 16. Now you telling me, a sports historian, watch the College of Charleston with Steph Curry make it to the Final Four. Now they lost in the Sweet 16. Now you make that make sense. Because I saw this team make the Final Four. And then basket manipulate all them games that helped them win their conference or whatever, West, East, whatever. Now they say they lost in the Sweet 16. And that's some shit. Because again, the less games they can show he played, the less games that's out there to show basket manipulation. Because Steph Curry, 1,000% got basket manipulation in college. So, he went ape shit. D Still, what's happening?
Yes, he destroy black boys. If you destroy him as a boy, he'll never become a man.
No, that ain't the one.
You don't understand. I ain't scared of you, motherfucker.
Yeah, you're right. He went to Davidson. You're right. He went to Davidson. I still think it'll be Heat and Lakers again in Game 7. I think that Heat and Lakers. I think it's a replay of '83. It's gonna be Heat and Sixers. He went ape shit, hit 7 threes. Yeah, he went to Davidson. That's right, Davidson. You're right, not the College of Charleston. But I remember them making the Final Four, and now they say they didn't. So Because again, you know, if they can eliminate the number of games that he played where they helped him in college, people go research and say, hey, well, they only went this far. Again, he was the bus child. The money was on his brother. His brother went to junior college, and after junior college, he went to Duke. He was the one that they thought was going to make it, not someone going to Davidson. And I'll even say that probably even Steph, if you looked at Steph in high school, when Steph was a senior, he looked like he was about 13, 14 years old. And I would dare say his high school games was manipulated. The technology was there when he was in high school. So they started creating him even then. Because he wasn't definitely the one. It was his brother that was the one, because he went to Duke. Not this joker that went to Davidson and they had to do all this manipulation to make him look good. Remember, Davidson wasn't even going to retire his number or give him any props because he didn't graduate. And then somebody said, hey, we need to get this guy props because, you know, Magic Johnson only went to Michigan State 2 years and there's a statue of him. Then Magic Johnson did win a championship for Michigan State. Heat versus Laker does sound good and somebody might be on the clock. Ooh, PJ Allen. That's a good point. I still think it's going to be, well, I would say this is Lakers, Boston, which is the old-fashioned NBA matchup, which could very well be. And as I said before, you know, the Boston just had another sacrifice. Remember that. Their publicity coordinator, whatever, she just died. So that's more blood for Boston. You know, they have these soles that make you jump higher. Oh, yeah. They got shoes that are banned. Let me see. Dick's Sports sells them. Oh, I'm not even plugged in. Let me see if I can look them up on Dick's Sports. I know what you're talking about. And those shoes are banned. Those shoes are banned by the NBA. Let's see. If I can find, where's my Dick's Sports? But you know what? Dick's Sports ain't been showing them lately. Men. There we go. I don't know. It might take me a minute to find these damn shoes. But yeah, they make you jump higher. And they're banned from the NBA. You put the name on them or something? I just remember those who have Black Panther medicine have rage issues. Also, I'm eating big serving of fried chicken Panthers black jacket. Yeah, they banned. Yeah. I think I can find them though. Tell you what, I am in love with the Jordan 36s. I'm not ordering any more of the 37s. The 36s are a way better shoe. I'm going to order, I found the all, well, I'm not going to say because you order this shit is such, because Dick's Sports had those shoes and I don't know if I can find them quick enough. But I'm definitely going to get the Tatum 1, the cheaper version. I think I'm going to play pickleball with them. I'm going to buy a pair of them. Don't need shoes, but damn, if kind of like my thing, you know? Ooh, I didn't even see these in all white. NXXTs. Damn, let me look at these. Ooh, these are clean. Ooh, for only $150? They got my size? They do not. Let's see. Ooh, they do. They do have my size. Ooh. I might have to get a pair of these. Oh, these wasn't here on here earlier. But what is these shoes called? So I don't want to waste your time, but Dick's Sports sells them. I know what PJ's talking about. Dick's Sports sells them. And they will actually make you jump higher. So I'll find these in a day or two. Because I'll start shopping and shit. The Tatums look comfortable. Yeah, oh yeah. And they got a lot of foot support, you know, toe support, you know, front foot support. And that's what I like about them. But really, I'm looking at the Tatums, and I think they're 36s. Like, I missed out. I could have bought a pair of 36s for $100, and I kind of missed out. Should have bought them yesterday and didn't. You know, should be selling out. But yeah, so I'm going to end up getting probably the high top Tatums, the low top Tatums, and I'm going to get a pair of 36s. So, Yeah, the quest for clothes and shoes never stop. Clothes, shoes, and jewelry, cars never stop, you know? So that's kind of how it goes. If you're really about your business, that's kind of how it goes. I accidentally bought 2 pairs of the Jordan 3 Wizards on Saturday. I canceled the Nike order fastest. Jordan 3 Wizards. Oh, okay. Wow. I don't like any of the old shoes. Like they were showing the 15s. As I said before, my favorite pair of Jordans was the 14 Carolinas. That was my all-time favorite when I played semi-pro. I love those shoes. And really like the like they have the flames on the toes that started peeling off. And I hate it. I really like the season they got over, and we was like a few weeks going into summer, you know, semi-pro. So it was a few weeks from the summer league starting. And I was like, you know, okay, these shoes that failed me, send them back to Nikes. And they sent me 15s before they was in the stores. And the problem was they had no grip. I mean, they were probably the worst grip shoes I'd ever bought until I bought knockoffs in like 07, 08, probably 07. The 15s were, all the technology that they had put was gone. They were uncomfortable. Again, it had some of the worst traction of any Jordan I'd ever bought. And it was a shoe literally thrown in the closet. It was like, it wasn't even a comfortable shoe just to walk around with because they were so ugly. And it really, you know, I was really upset because I was hoping they would send me the shoe back that I sent in, and they didn't. But the 15s were the worst. I was surprised they made retros because those shoes were so bad and people didn't like them. And remember, Michael never hooped in the 15s. You know, he retired when they came out. So they were one of the worst Jordans of all times. So I don't even know why they ever made retros of those. Why would people buy them? They were the worst Jordan of all time. And I mean performance-wise. I don't mean just, you know, they were ugly shoe for the first of all. But 14s were my favorite. 14s and I think 11. The 15s and 14s are comfortable. I didn't find my 15s that comfortable at all. I just did not like that shoe. I tried to hoop in them. And I remember literally coming from the gym with them 15s and just throwing them in my closet. I was mad in the mud because I had to go buy another pair of shoes. I was so mad because I didn't think they were comfortable. Again, the traction was the worst ever. And I don't know. I just didn't have a good experience with my pair. And my pair they wasn't even in stores. When they sent them to me, you know, they was even in stores. But never liked those. Never liked those. So, recommended cousin Twan's channel. Okay. The Masculine Mastery Movement. All right. I know you got something positive to get people to join, so that's cool. But yeah, that was just my experience with them. As I said before, when Alvin Iverson came out with the Answers, I think it was the Answers 2 or 3, that first pair, and then and the only problem with Reeboks is they have a narrow toe. That's why I had to get away from them. Now, when Shaq came out with his pair of Reeboks, the toe was a little wider. But if you went into the Answers, toe was slightly narrower. Now, the best looking Answer ever was that patent leather blue one. Because I remember I had got a pair, one of my guys could get shoes, and he brought it to the Macker. And I played the Macker in those brand new Answer 4 maybe, but whatever the patent blue ones was, those were nice shoes. Very padded. And I played that whole tournament in those shoes, and they were nice shoes. I think it was a Gus Macker. My cousin brought him he was on my team. He brought him. He's like, I know you wanted the box. I'm like, yeah, because I had bought them from somebody else, and they gave them to my cousin, and he brought them to me. He's like, I know you wanted the box. So, the history of shoes, I go back just as far as anybody. I ain't made any money off them, but, my lifestyle, my whole life, my lifestyle was getting athletic shoes. So, they're still kind of a thing with me. I wear almost every pair of shoes like I wear them 2 days, and then I get another pair. So keeps my dogs from hurting. Like even on the what the fuck is this shit called? The NordTrack. Even on the NordTrack, you know, I got a special pair of shoes I walk on this motherfucker for. You know? And now I'm about to be unleashed with pickleball. I was gonna tell y'all I was gonna get up at 7 in the morning and go play pickleball, but it's gonna be too windy. Wind outside and pickleball don't go very well. But the working out, I'm in pretty decent shape. I can run, so yeah. The pickleball season is about to really pick up. The weather's gonna be decent this week. So yeah. By June, I'll be in peak performance, y'all. And I'm teaching my best friend to, you know, get him in there. So he's got really quick hands. So yeah, we'll be getting down, not long.
Your feet!
Screw them.
Group of you together.
How many pairs of sneakers do I own? Damn. I think in my one storage I have about 6 or 7 pair. My garage storage probably 6 or 7 pair. What is that? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I probably got 20 pair in my closet. In my daughter's room is all my boots. That's another 6, 7 pair. So I don't know. I would dare say 60 pair of shoes. And that's not, again, I've got shoes in my garage too. And that's, yeah, maybe 70 pair of shoes. Yeah, maybe about 70 pair. Maybe. So, not a great collector, but yeah, I think about 70 pair, probably. Shoes and boots and dress shoes. Cousin T has a degree in neuropsychology. Wow. Okay, Cousin T. Well, we have to check out Cousin T's work. Woo! Oh. Yeah! Oh, yeah!
I would. You're a philosopher? You're a philosopher? You're a philosopher? You're a philosopher?
Sometimes I am. And as I said, next fall, I'm going back to college. I'm going to get a Gopher degree in psychology, clinical psychology. So I might do some shows and have some mugs on the couch, you know, like analyzing them. Like, what does that mean to you? That kind of stuff. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that's definitely what's going on my plate in the fall. I'm going back to college to finish and try to get me a doctorate degree at 62 when I go. Yeah, I get a doctorate degree in clinical psychology. So we'll see. I think there's only one melanated clinical psychologist in the state. So from what I've been hearing, a lot of what I did when I went to A&T, because I got into psychology in A&T and started doing clinical work and shit. So, yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I was lazy. I could have kept going to school, and I was lazy. When the football thing didn't work out, I started working for the water department. Helped my girlfriend at the time, and later my first wife. Helped her finish up at A&T. You know, and then took her to Michigan, and you know, she was probably knocking down 90,000 when she retired. She still works part-time, but you know, even though I didn't really want to take her with me, I wasn't in love with her like that, and I did marry her because I felt it was the right thing to do. But it helped her, even though all the heartbreak I gave her, she'd have stayed in North. To give you an example of my ex-wife and her friend in college. Her friend never got a teaching job. she was only able to acquire jobs in daycares. So you have two people, both have teaching jobs. And again, it's all timing. When I took her to Michigan, my stepmother had retired to raise my brothers and sisters, my brothers and my sister. But she still had all these connections. And so when I moved to Michigan in 2006, she had just went back. All the children were old enough, to go to we're in school. And so her first year back was my ex's first year of substitute teaching. So you dig. So she worked at Kmart, she substitute teach that whole first year. And I took a couple of bullshit jobs and then got unemployment for like 7-8 months. Good money because it went for all my money. It's interesting. It got all my money from when I worked from North Carolina. So I didn't work for 7-8 months because unemployment back then, you go down to the unemployment office and they fucking give you a check. You go down there every week and they was fucking giving me a check. So like, do you really think I was trying to get a job? It was like $400 or $500. I was like, yeah, I'm not trying to get a job. And I got all my pension money from the water department, which was like $6-7 grand. So, I really wasn't hurt. I really wasn't hurt. I stopped counting my shoes. Yeah, I understand. I used to hoop and sell dope in my Air Force Ones. Okay, bet. You stop. Yeah, and I can't put my shoes in them plastic containers, like where you put your hats, because my brother-in-law, he puts his shoes in these plastic containers. 13s and 14s don't fit in these plastic containers. So I just been keeping the boxes. There's a bunch of boxes there. My daughter's bed, I put all them boxes under there because, again, it's the boots, dress shoes, and shit. Like my coats, I had to box a bunch of them up. I'm seeing like a bunch of my hoodies I had to box up. Still all my winter coats is right here and shit. So, yeah. I got to take some more shit into storage. Definitely got to take this rug into storage so I can take some of these winter coats and take them out of here and put them downstairs. Yeah. So, and then I'm going to order, like you can get fur, like, in the Max Julien, like my Tommy's got the fur around the collar here and it's fake, but you can order real shit for about $400. You can get real fox or coyote to put it on your Max Julien. So, and as I said, I'm getting the Matthew Henson coat. Either it's going to be fox or coyote. So you can look up What? You want me to look up Matthew Henson? Okay, I think I will. Let's see if we can find him. Where's Matthew? Show y'all what I'm talking about. I'm just kind of rambling. I ain't really got a lot to say tonight. But let's find Matthew Henson. And that probably ain't right. Let's see though. Bet they find him. Oh, I see one picture. See if I can find more. Oh, here we go. This is the first picture that they showed. Whoops. You see that? All that fur? Look at all that fur right there. Ooh. Look at that. Ooh, I want that. No, it's going to be nice every place, but this shows you a little more. You see all that? That's me, y'all. I'm getting some shit like that. Matthew Henson, he proud of the motherfucker. Look at him. He's styling in that fur. And this is like, look, he got even a pinky ring. He got a pinky ring. Oh, he is styling. Damn, he got a pinky ring. Ain't no better pictures of this brother. Come on, y'all gotta be kidding me. Let's see. Ain't no better pictures of him. Ah, there we go. Look at that. Look at that. All that fur. So I want some shit like this. I want some Matthew Henson. So that's let me see any more Matthew. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Well, at least some Europeans. Any more Matthew Henson? Oh, James Buckworth. If you don't know who he is, the Buckworth Pass that helped him get through the Rocky Mountains. I don't know who this white boy is. Rhino, the first person to reach the South Pole. But look at them. Look at them furs. Yeah, you can still get this kind of shit. So, and you buy the shit in the summertime, it's cheaper. You buy minks and shit in the summertime, it is cheaper. It's cheaper to keep her. It's cheaper to keep her. No real. I'll tell y'all, let me give y'all somebody. I just caught it. Let me catch it again. This cat right here is a good book worth getting. This is Quanah Parker. Let me see if they got the picture of him and his mama. Let me see. It doesn't look like it. But this dude is a mixed cat. The Comanche stole his mama, and you know his daddy, you know, chose his mama, and they had him. This cat actually killed a bunch of Europeans. I mean, Comanches, like if you want, I guess the easiest way to say that Genghis Khan was related to Comanches is you just look at the skill of the riders. I mean, these people were some of the greatest horse riders. There's a book about the Comanche that with Quanah Parker on the cover. It's a great book, but it shows you that they had to be related to the Genghis Khan people, because not only were they great horse riders, these people were the greatest of moving. Like a lot of how camps would get killed, and the women and children killed. They were so good at moving 1,000 people and hiding. Whereas, one thing that, we really shouldn't celebrate the Buffalo Soldiers, because the Buffalo Soldiers fought these kind of people. They fought their own melanated people. But this is a good book. Quanah Parker right here is a good book to read. He killed a lot of Europeans, and they still let him be a chief, and they still let him keep his land. Very rare. Very rare. Very rare for Europeans to do. They don't normally do that kind of thing. They were, Europeans are pretty bloodthirsty Europeans. I don't know if y'all hip to this story, but I'm going to hip you this story on business. They had to call this guy, end up calling him, this is the guy who created Famous Dave's cookies, Famous Dave, or whatever, Famous Amos cookies. And what he did is, see, when you go public and you release all your shares, you've got to keep 51% of your shares. This guy gave up everything. So he lost his name, Famous Amos. So he came out with a cookie called Uncle No Name or some shit. So, in business, you got to understand, you can't leverage your whole business out. And that's what this guy did. You got to keep your business, guys. You can't give up more than what you hold. Because once you sell what you hold, you don't control it anymore. Can you dig? I don't know if a lot of people can dig that. Let me see, because I got to pee again. Let's see what I can bring on here. We don't care about him. I can play this and go pee. Nobody wants to see you, Joe. Slow Joe. Here we go. Check this out while I go pee.
This month is Parkinson's Awareness Month, and you might not think it, but boxing is a great fight against Parkinson's. I took a visit to Title Boxing in Lakeville to check out their class.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. My phone started ringing when that research came out. And I said, no, we don't have a program. Phone rang again. No, we don't have a program. By the time it rang a third time, we started taking down people's contact information.
In demand and doing the job, noticeable immediately after class.
Tired, rejuvenated, strengthened, and my meds work better.
Nancy Storm has been coming to the Knockout Parkinson's program for 4 years. The course is designed to slow down the disease with high-intensity exercise.
We're yelling, he's encouraging us, challenging us to get louder and louder, And his constant sort of mantra is keep moving. So that's what we do, and it really seems to make a difference.
Over 70 people come to the class, some 3 times a week.
Parkinson's tries to take away their fight, and they show up every day and fight back.
More than the healing effects, the group is a community with a shared experience.
We can come here and be visible. Sometimes our symptoms make us invisible or we're uncomfortable with it, but when we're together in this kind of Parkinson's journey, it really is.
Group is a community with a shared experience.
We can.
She is a very ugly lady, but let's go.
Come here and be visible.
Oh, how did you get so ugly, lady? Like, how did you get beat with the ugly stick so bad? I don't get that. Damn. Man, she's from Wisconsin, y'all. She is from Wisconsin.
Sometimes our symptoms.
Okay, let's go though.
Make us invisible or we're uncomfortable with it.
If you're ugly, you're invisible. That's a true thing. People don't look at ugly people. Like, I see people out on the highway with signs. They ugly people. People don't give money to ugly people. They don't understand that, but let's go.
But when we're together in this kind of Parkinson's journey, it really is supportive and helpful.
You know, I think what would help them is just go in there and beat everybody up. You know, just go in there and knock everybody out and like, okay, this is silly. This is silly. Yeah, I'm thinking that's about nothing else really exciting going on around here. It's pretty boring. Ooh. I might have to show this.
Don Power Wash.
No, I don't want to hear about Don. Let me see if I can just capture this just to show you. Okay, let him go. 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 I don't care. Is this it? Let me see if they measure here. Let me see if I can catch this. Let me see. Here we go. No, I missed it. Okay, let's get that back. All right, here we go. Okay, I'll show this for a second. I don't know if you've ever seen this action, but they measure this. Wilt jumps 50 inches in the air to block this shot. 50 inches in the air to block this shot at 7-1. And y'all talking about who is the greatest athlete to ever play. 50 inches in the air. I found this on a different video, and they measure this shot. He jumps 50 inches in the air to block this shot. So, you know, this is, look at that. Probably the greatest athlete, basketball player, as far as athlete that ever played. Let's see if we can catch any more of that. Let's catch a little more of it. Watch this show. Look at that. Look how high he is in there. His hand is damn near at the top of the backboard. Look at this. Look where his hand is. Now, I know we could say that LeBron, you know, broke all the records and stuff, but there ain't been nobody like Wilt. Nobody like Wilt. And I know timing is everything. You play against when your times. And remember, Wilt played on the best team of all time. Still 33 games in a row, which was 32 forever, but now it's 33. And we get overshadowed by the times. Not taking away from LeBron, not taking away from Michael Jordan, but Wilt was a motherfucker like we've never seen before. And I don't think people realize that. So that's my only thing, y'all. Wilt was great. Wilt was great. I travel the way of the dragon, the path of the tiger, the introspective journey of the sage, the wise one.
You're a philosopher? You're a philosopher? You're a philosopher? You're a philosopher?
Great workout hitting the heavy bag. I agree. Yeah, Wilt was amazing. He really was. Athleticism was nice, but what about Kareem? I'm only 20, so I think Kareem the GOAT. Now, what you have to remember, when Kareem went to Milwaukee, his first year, he didn't have Oscar Robertson. Oscar Robertson came that first year. Milwaukee was a brand new team. As I've said many times before, when Kareem got, it was a coin flip between the Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks. It was two new teams. The Bucks won. They got Kareem. The Suns got Connie Hawkins. So, Kareem, what we have to say is Kareem had the most unstoppable shot of all time. And again, we're talking about mid-range. Kareem had the most unstoppable mid-range game of all time. No one's had a mid-range game like Kareem. Kareem could hook left-handed, right-handed, it didn't matter. He could hook with either hand. I mean, we got the dude, his daddy played for Portland. We got him, the guy that just lost Sacramento. This guy can't even go right-handed. He would go to the hoop and he'd still have to switch to his left hand. Like, his game was limited because of that. And we saw that in Sacramento. This guy's 6'11". He's not big as his daddy was, but he's still 6'11", 6'10". And he can't go to his right hand. He can't go to the hoop and then switch to his right hand and try to dunk it. He's straight left hand. So that shows lack of training, lack of skill. You ever sold motherfucker some drywall? You know, I never had to do that. I never had to do that. Like, I've sat with dudes, and dudes was like, I would sit with Eric, and Eric's spot was sort of hot, sort of not hot. And Eric would literally go out. We'd be just sitting in my truck, fucking around. You know, I got some shit to do, so I'm just checking in with him. So we just sitting in my truck talking. And he was like, look, wait a minute. And he would literally go bag up some rocks. And I mean rocks in the yard, like white little rocks in the yard. And while we was sitting in my truck, motherfuckers would come and he would sell them them rocks. So, no, I never had to do that to anybody. I never, like I told the story the other night where I didn't have any cut, so I cut it with baking soda, baking powder. And for snorters, it was okay, but for if you try to, you know, hit it up to cook it into crack, you know, that shit's gonna shoot out the tube. So, yeah, that was about the worst I did. But yeah, never any rocks or nothing like that. I saw a dude get shot over that. So some dude, you know, some bullshit, and the dude came back and shot him. So, no, Sabonis, yeah, thank you, yep. But yeah, OTF, no, I never did that. I never had to do that. The baking soda thing, or powder, baking powder, yeah, the shit there. That was about the cheapest cut I ever put on some shit. So yeah, I didn't have to do it. I had enough. You know, and then if they was cool with me, like the way I got cool with Eric, you know, Eric was like really young. He's probably like just a senior in high school. And I knew his cousin. His cousin was my brother's best friend. So he brings this young cat to me and he's like, hey, I know about cut and shit. I know about cut. I don't want no cut. And I come downstairs and give him an 8-ball of just a solid piece. And his eyes got big. He's like, you got it like this every day? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay. Well, I'm going to sell this pretty quick. Can I call you in a day or two? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you can get this like me all the time? I'm like, yeah. But it was just funny. He was talking all this shit. I know what cut is. And then I just give him a big ass huge, just an 8-ball. And it's just a solid piece of powder. Like, you know, just whatever, you know, solid piece of powder. And, you know, he's my guy since then. He kind of like, it's just funny. He was talking all that shit. And then I bring him this shit that's probably the purest he ever saw. And he's like, I mean, it's just funny. He's like, okay, I'll have the money in a couple of days. And I didn't even front him now. He's like, and that's what I liked. I ain't had to front him. He had enough to get an 8-ball. He's like, I'm going to sell this in like so many hours. Can I buy another one from you pretty quick? I taught an 18-year-old and a 22-year-old how to hit the heavy bag. Oh, that's cool. That's real cool. I'll say I did heavy bag work because my dad put up a bag, and so my brother and I would work on it. My brother started living in the basement, And, you know, he'd call me and it's like, do you want to work out? And we'd work out on the bag. And that's a good workout. The heavy bag is a good workout. It definitely is. Shoulders is definitely a good workout for your shoulders. But, you know, for pickleball, I'm working with individual rates and the rope. The rope is real good for pickleball. People don't understand how good the rope is for pickleball. It's great because, again, all you react. Pickleball, see, when people look at it, they think it's an old people game or a game you played in gym. But in reality, what you're doing is you've got a lot of lateral movement and you've got a lot of arm and hand movement. And me being ambidextrous, you know, when a person hits it to my left, I can just switch the racket. Like one of my most memorable plays was I was served to my left and I literally hit it so quick that the guys couldn't react. And I hit it right in the middle between the two guys. And it was just simply by me switching hands. Me switching hands and hit it left-handed. And I hit it back so quick because most people, right-handers will hit it that a backhand. So if it's serving to my left, you know, I'm on the left side, most people right-handed will backhand it. Well, I don't have to because I'm both-handed. So it's like that's a forehand coming for me. Because again, they anticipate a right-hand player backhanding it with not a lot of English on it. But when a person like me that's ambidextrous, you know, it's either way. You know, I'm pow. So. And right now, you know, I've been lazy. I've been drinking a lot of beer. But, you know, I still walk a lot. Still walk on this mug right here. So I'm still, even though, you know, I'm still in pretty good shape. So when the weather gets a little better, I'm going to be in pickleball heaven next couple of days. My sister-in-law is engaged to a guy who just got out of the pen. So last night at my son's birthday dinner, my mother-in-law says he got 2 sons. I got 2 sons now. I said, what? I had to stop myself from saying some shit. Oh my goodness. You know, it's kind of what's interesting is my fiance's family. There is only one guy, and as you know, I got 3 sons here. I got 5 sons altogether, but 3 of my sons live here, so I'm nothing but men. You know, so it's nothing but men that come for me. So it's kind of different, you know, that when I go to their family. And like we got it, like my fiance and she was upset because I know who listens to me. And I don't try to offend anybody that listens to me. Because some people that listen to me are kind of friends too. And so I don't want to say anything that is upsetting to them. But like I told her, and one thing that anybody can look up is, if you do not think that they can chemically make you change your sexual orientation, this is a lie. They have chemicals that can physically change a male into a female acting. Now, I'm not talking about surgery. I'm talking about things they put in the air. Now, the first one you want to look up is Dow Chemical. Dow Chemical is in Midland, Michigan. And Dow Chemical hired this brother. And they said, what is the impact of our chemicals on the environment? And this brother broke it down. And you can simply look up Dow Chemical Frog. I think it's Dow Chemical Frog Test or something like that, where this guy shows you that the chemicals that made the anti-scuff pans, anti-stick pans, what it did to the environment, and especially amphibians, is it made male amphibians start acting like females. Now, you can look this up very easily. Matter of fact, you can look up his individual test, where he individually puts the chemicals. He slowly exposes a frog to the chemical, and the frog who starts off as a male starts doing female frog things. And, you know, that's not trying to bash anybody or anything. Now, we know that in the 1950s, East St. Louis was chemically attacked with chemical agents. You can look this up. The 1950 spraying of chemicals on East St. Louis. And anybody knows anything about St. Louis, most of the melanated people live in East St. Louis. Now, another point that's a fact is, and anyone can look at this research. I'm not going to do the work for you. Look up this research if you think that what I'm saying is wrong. You just look up the research. There was the plastics. Again, my background is quality control. So I have to kind of look at In some instances, I had to look at how the chemicals, or at least the temperature, outdoor temperature compared to the factory temperature. I'll say I'll stay with that. Won't go any further with that. But there was a study done in the 80s. It was on plastics. And what it showed is that people that lived in communities that made plastics with plastic exhaust, it started making young girls go on their periods faster and developing breasts faster. And so the whole point of what I'm saying is it is proven that the government or state or city or a business can release chemicals that will change our sexual orientation. And that's just a fact. You can look this stuff up. Now, again, you know, I'm not trying to upset anyone that listens to me, but this is the argument. She was quite upset because she has a lot of gay people in her family. Now, as I said, I won't disrespect anyone. I'll treat everyone the way they are. And I've said many times, I have 2 children that are gay, which is a heartbreaker to me because that means I'm not going to be cloned. You know, my bloodline is stopped with these 2. Do you understand? I remember my daughter was like my sister will never have children. My sister's got to be, she's past children raising age. My sister's got to be, she was born in 76, so what is that? 46, 47? She'll never have children. So she'll never pass on DNA. My daughter right now is 17, going into her senior year next year. She's claimed she's gay. She'll never have children. Now my son that's 22, never know. Because he is gay, but he's been with his boyfriend for 5 years. So this is a part of me that's closed off, that's cut off. This is a part of me that won't replicate. This is part of my history DNA that will not pass on through them. Now, you know, you can say, well, they were born in it. And I'll say this, and what I said to her last night, there's chemicals in this city. This is one of the most gayest cities in the world. Only behind probably New York, Atlanta. You know, Atlanta is the gay capital for brothers. But this city is not far from that. Now, I'll say this, my research on finding what chemical plants that affected people born in the 40s, I haven't done enough research. You know, my research is really not, it's kind of incomplete. It's kind of incomplete when it comes here and studying people born in the 40s and 50s. It's kind of incomplete. I've been lazy about that. So, and that's what we argued about. Wasn't no he say, she say, you know, I'm doing this. It's just, this is how I feel about things. Now, I keep in mind, I don't try to offend anyone. Because you do your thing while I do my thing. But I've showed pictures before. And when I was working, and I showed, you know, what is... See, people's brains don't develop fully until you're 24 or 25. And so therefore, you don't really know who you are until you're 24 or 25. Just because of the way your brain develops and full maturity. So to say you're one thing at 19, 20, 21, and then your brain fully develops, let's see what you are then. So I'll drop it. I'll drop it. Satanic. You know, it is. In my head, it's like, I know you ain't comparing me. No, definitely not you. No, Jailbird. No, definitely not you. Says my sister. Yeah. No. They're trying their best to go against the insuperable, unchanging laws of universal nature, masculine and feminine. Yeah. It's. I mean, keep this in mind. It takes like they say, it takes the whole town, community to raise a child, and that's no doubt. I think I'll start talking about something else. Because I don't want to offend anybody, and that's not what I'm here for. I don't like the agenda. I don't like the agenda that's going after children. Again, if your brain doesn't form until you're 24 or 25, you can say what you want, that you're born a certain way, but again, you don't fully know what you are until you're 24 or 25. I know this hurts people's feelings, but I think with my daughter, it was a popularity contest. When my daughter came out, it was popular to come out in school. I think when she first did it, it was a popularity contest. My son, I know it was a rebound relationship. He had broke up with a girl, and he met this guy. And my son is extremely lazy, and the guy does everything for him. Now, did the guy benefit from being my son? Absolutely, because he had a lot of issues. But the same thing is a fact, is I am not replicated again through him. I'm not going to be replicated through my daughter. If you understand. There's something out there that don't want more of me. My older daughter, who, I didn't fight for when I was young, which I should have. She has 2 children. One of her children's 9 or 10. And they have part of me in them. Her son, whatever he turns out to be, he has part of me in him. Her daughter has part of me in them. They're little clones of me. And I guess that's ego talking. That's definitely ego. I don't like that either. Now these creeps can actually be creeps. Well, there you got a point. They infected the culture to the max horrible through music and movies. Well, looking at Umar Johnson, and one thing he said that was right is it used to be a mental illness. And my argument that upset my fiance so much was society was better. Her thing is, my mother had to hide who she was and had all these feelings because she had to hide who she was. But society was better. There's no argument about that. Society was better. And I know a lot of people would come back at me and say, well, we had to hide ourselves. We had to be in the closet. But now they scream that more people are attacked, which we know is propaganda in a lot of ways. But why? My argument is this, is why does this have to be put in the schools now? Again, this should be put in colleges. But as I showed, I showed all these books months ago, year ago, showed all these books that are given to our children. The Little Boy That Dresses Like a Princess. This was a book. That should be shown to children. Again, your brain doesn't fully form until you're 24 or 25. But yet they want to put this into people's minds when they're in elementary school now. They don't want to put them around the people. It's like saying, you're going to show a person in elementary school how to smoke crack. What's the difference? It's no difference. You're exposing something that adults should be. They're saying, and their argument is, this is their argument. The argument is, well, a lot of people, can't express who they fully are. Well, express who you are when you're an adult. When you're an adult and you're 18, you can express who you are. Keep that shit away from children until they become adults. That's all I ask for. And I think that is totally fair. Now, this thing saying about the genders in sports, Title IX let trans athletes play in sports, in women's sports. Women's basketball has always been dominated by trans athletes since Title IX. Robin Roberts is the first example of that. Go back and look. When Title IX came in, look at the first athlete who really benefited. The first superstar trans athlete was Robin Roberts. And look what she is now. Sue Bird, Taurasi, the girl they brought from Russia. All these are guys. Think about it. If you're tall and your wife is tall, but you look at your child and your child is super bony like Grimer was. So Grimer's in first grade and you're looking at her and you're like, her body style will never be able to compete if she's a boy. She'll never be able to compete against boys despite her being 6'9", 6'8", 6'9". But if I keep her a girl and start giving her hormones now, she'll be able to compete against girls. And that's what we got with Taurasi, Sue Bird. I mean, on my other channel, I did a video that shows you Sue Bird is a guy. Sue Bird has male pattern baldness. Look at that commercial with her and Curry. She has male pattern baldness. That's all weave, fake hair, lace front in front. Taurasi is the same way. Look at these people. It is accepted in women's basketball, and it's been accepted since Title IX. Women's basketball has always had trans athletes. And I'm not picking on anybody. This is a fact. This is a fact. The WNBA is a trans athlete league. It's always been that way. And not always, but again, at least since Title IX. And you have real women that really, like Nancy Lopez, that never got her propers, who's truly a woman and was a great basketball player, but was a woman. Staley, the coaches down in South Carolina. Again, this is a woman that had that shined despite her having to compete against trans men. And this is just the reality of women's college basketball. It's always been like that. Since at least most of you watching me in your lifetime, what you've seen in women's pro basketball in college is you've seen trans people. And again, I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just telling you reality of what it is. Women's basketball has been trans dominated from the very beginning. How many remember when they tried to have a women's pro league before the WNBA and all the women wore booty shorts? Yeah, I remember that league is 9-foot hoops and booty shorts because they couldn't sell it. They couldn't sell it. Just big booty girls hooping, they couldn't sell it. Oh, what do you say? You still think Reddy Miller's sister trans, Cheryl? No, I don't think Cheryl's a trans. I think Cheryl's a woman. I think Cheryl's a woman. My younger brothers, children, my nephews, nieces have been asking them to teach them Thais philosophy, boxing, martial arts, taught them some gyms before I left for Texas. That's cool. But no, I don't think Cheryl Miller is. No, I think she's a woman. But Cheryl Miller, sadly, think about it like this. You're a woman and you go to college to play basketball. And then all of a sudden, you notice that all your teammates are mostly trans people. And then in the women's basketball community, you see it's a bunch of trans people. So you have a real woman and you have something in common, but this is a man pretending to be a woman. And so these are the people you're around. So people get attracted to different things. So, because we know that Nancy Lopez, when she was the WNBA coach, she was messing with players. She was messing with some of her younger players. Because again, you have a woman, Candace Parker. I've met Candace Parker. And let's not forget, people forget about her brother. Candace Parker's brother played college basketball. In the McDonald All-Star game where she won the dunk contest, which she wouldn't have. She just copied what Dee Brown did. Just like the commercial. They have their commercial out there, and they got women playing roles that real men did. When you had Matt Barnes and Kobe, and you know, Matt Barnes did like this to Kobe, and Kobe didn't flinch. Now they got her doing it. Candace Parker doing it. And then the Iverson move with Tyronn Lue, they got that girl that dribbles, that does videos of dribbling people. Why is that? And they got the old lady doing the Dame move. Why is that? To make women's basketball interesting, they got to show men's stuff. So That's all. I think transgender male and females shouldn't be allowed, according to law, to participation in men's and women's sports. That's right. How many women that are studs try to play men's sports? I think we can only say one girl that played semi-pro football. One woman. How many trans women, how many stud women want to go to men prisons? Like we got all these dudes are saying they trans and they want to go to female prisons. And then they go to female prisons and they get female prisoners pregnant. It's a scam. It's a scam. It has nothing to do with what's real. So I deal with people on an individual basis. But when I see agenda, I speak against agenda. And when we see agenda that's basically attacking children, somebody has to say something about it. Because we have too many people that's going with it. Because they think of, see, this is what it is. It's like, okay, you got this movement, this LBG movement. And again, they're trying to connect pedophilia to it too. And so they say if you attack any of it, that you're racist or you're a homophobe. How is it? It's like that. There are two things that you can't talk about. Them peoples and this LBG stuff. There's none of it they want you to talk about. You can't criticize it. And why are Republicans? And that's interesting. Republicans is really pushing this stuff. Joe Biden is trying his best because states are saying women compete against women. And something my fiance said right. You know why trans men, there's no league, there's not enough trans people to have their own league. Isn't that interesting? So I say a trans man, like, well, what is a trans man in Division III? He was the worst trans sprinter or whatever in Division III. Then he goes over to women and he takes hormones for 6 months. And the same with the swimmer. He was the worst swimmer, that Lee dude. He was the worst male swimmer. Like out of 300 people, he was 300. Then all of a sudden, he at 6'5", 6'6", he takes hormones. He ain't have surgery to cut his shit off. And that's not fair. And so, no, they should not be allowed to participate. But again, no one's talking about college basketball and high school basketball because trans people participate. Who's the young girl that was doing this? The young girl from Iowa. Does that look like a girl? Look at the young girl from Iowa that lost. Long neck. Broad shoulders. I mean, it's obvious. If you look at the WNBA and you look at college basketball, it's obvious that trans people have been allowed to play basketball. That's obvious. So I'll drop it. You can't say nothing about it. And then you know who's. There we go. There we go. So again, you know, I'm not trying to hurt anybody. Like DMX said, world full of lollipops. I like that. I like that. Oh, I like that. Oh,
you're lying.
It all. Oh, shoot.
Damn white boys out there. Most of them is psychopaths and all that. They'll kill your mama's mama. And you. Decent white folk that still don't know they're racist.
Tell him, Dick. So again, you know, I'm not trying to attack anybody. My fiance takes it personal because there's some gay people in her family, but the way I feel is the way I feel. Again, I'm not going to disrespect any individual. And all I'm saying is keep it out of schools. You know, it's accepted in college basketball and it's accepted in women's basketball. All right? It's not accepted really in any other sport. And what's funny is if you looked at like the Cold War, one of the arguments of the Cold War is they always said that Russians was having trans athletes. But in reality, if you look at the Cold War times and look at some of the American Olympians, we had just as many trans athletes as the Cold War states, the Russian states, the Iron Curtain states. We had just as many. But they wanted you to look at Russia as, you know, trying to cheat and do this, and it was us too. Again, going back to basketball. Basketball has always been about trans people. You stay safe when the cartels come on US soil and run wild. You know, that's the thing is, and this is the other part that you know, a reality breakdown. Would Trump ever sent troops to the border? Because if they wanted to stop dope from coming to South America, it's very easy to blockade those countries. You blockade the countries, you send in troops. It's that easy. You mass your troops on the border, and then you start sweeping these Mexican countries. You go after one cartel at a time. People forget what was his name? Esteban did. Esteban had his own army. He had his own army, and he fought the Colombians' army. He bought guns from America, tanks from America, bullets from America, and he fought the Colombians. Remember that one time he said, okay, I'll stay in jail, but then he's like, fuck them, I'll fight them. And it wasn't until he fought them and overthrew that government that the U.S. came in and overthrew a CIA operative. And this is why the cartels will never go down, because the cartels are part of the CIA. Now, there used to be an argument. This used to be big in arguments. The CIA for a long time was one of the agencies. Every year you would see, and I know this is old, but you see J. Edgar Hoover for the FBI. You see all these other agencies begging for money. Do you know it was almost 20 years where the CIA never went in there and asked for money? And you can look this up. Look up the number of years the CIA did not have to go in front of Congress and ask for money. Why? Why did the CIA not need extra money when you got the military, the Air Force, Army, all of them asking for money, but you never saw the CIA asking for money? Because they didn't need it. They were doing so much illegal stuff with this dope. And let's not forget in Syria, 2 years ago, you had the Department of Defense fighting CIA people in Syria. Tell me that makes sense. Tell me that's not a waste of American money. Well, you have CIA-backed forces in Syria fighting the military forces. Tell me how that makes sense. Tell me how you look at that and you're like, this ain't no real war. This is a waste of money. And our Navy is the biggest polluter in the world. Yet you got a government up there talking about they want stuff green. The biggest polluter in the world is the U.S. Navy. We pay 3-4 times money to our military than any other country, including China. Our military budget is the biggest of anywhere. Why is that? And you telling me they can't stop cartels 30, 40 miles off our border? Do you know how easy and quick if they really wanted to stop that? Now, I can't say Biden will never do it. Maybe Trump would have did it. Sent troops in there to Mexico and killed the cartels. It would take less than a month. If they really wanted to stop all the fentanyl, all the cocaine, they could go in and fight them cartels and clean them out within a month. Mostly National Guard troops. Take some of them National Guard troops out of California and Texas and Arizona, New Mexico, and let them fight the cartels. See how quickly they could devastate them. What did Biden say against the American people? We got jets and nuclear bombs. You think the cartels could stand nuclear strike, or not nuclear strikes, but plane strikes, jet strikes? How many strikes do you think it would take when the cartel had to go hide, strategically retreat? You know how quick we could beat them if they wanted to? But they don't want to beat them because, again, the CIA is involved in all of it. There's never a time in our history where our government didn't help drugs come into America. What Nino Brown say? Uzis ain't made in Harlem. This is a fact. They have always had their hands in the drugs. And the only reason they made cocaine illegal and weed legal because they put propaganda that it made. One thing says, brothers smoke weed and they think they're just as good as the European. And that's some of their reasons for banning, you know. But when we really know, it was the Rockefellers that didn't want competition. Because hemp and weed itself had so many applications. The Rockefellers didn't want this. So they lobbied and they banned this stuff. They made weed weed is just as bad as cocaine and heroin. And that's some shit. And they saw a way to lock up melanated people. That's why they got to do these laws and say, well, we're going to let low-lying defenders. Because, you know, you could have an ounce of weed, get caught driving with an ounce of weed, and then if you got a couple bagged up, and they'll get you for trafficking. Give you extra 5 or 10 years for fucking weed. When the new law that just passed says each individual can possess 5 pounds of weed. That's the new law that they just passed. Each individual. I could have 5 pounds of weed sitting here, nothing they could do. 5 pounds of weed. This is with no place to go buy it. It's just right now, as an individual in Minnesota, I can possess 5 pounds of weed. If you can dig it. So we got a bunch of Catholic Intelligence Agency. Well, that's a good way to call it. I gotta pee again, so I think we're gonna watch some bullshit while I go pee. Let's see, what can we watch? There's so many people are lame. Tell you, I love the Tennis Shoe channel, and I know Sly gave this guy, his shoes are $180 for a new shoe that's never been worn before. I don't know, y'all. I pass. I can't wear fucking flat shoes. Here we go. Let's watch this. This ain't long. I pee, so need something a little longer. Sorry, buddy. Your story's bullshit. Let's see here. Well, I'm always good. I like me. And I like me when I gotta go pee. See if I can freeze it here. Nah, that's not it. There we go. Here we go. All right. Give me about a minute. And I'm going to go pee. Someone at some level, and that's why they have to wear it. Yep. Yeah, beta sex kitten. Yep. Yep, that's part of it. That is part of it. It was obvious the Celtics would lose after the big Kobe deal with EF. Yeah, where he's wearing it on his arm. Yeah, he's wearing the Kobe thing. Yeah, kind of a form of MK Ultra. Jody gets really into that. Golden Gate Bridge will have a terrorist tag, have the bridge at the logo, and they're blue and yellow. I don't know about that, Drew. We'll see. His moment to be recognized by the NBA still have him lose the finals, building a star for the big show. That's a good point. That's a good point. Because he's useful. I have son, I'll teach him at 7 how to get girls. Drew Hops, that's scary, but you're probably right. Well, you know, the pimping can easily be shared on. Like everybody was like, "Oh, you're trying to be like your dad." No, my dad was a pimp in a small town. I had a friend that had women in every town. I wanted to be more like him. My dad just was in a small, when you talk about big fish in a small pond, that was my dad's pimp. He had a good job, so he had his wife and he had his woman that worked with him. That was small time pimping. That wasn't big pimping. I had another partner that had women, and he worked at General Motors, probably made the same money working at General Motors, but he had women all over the country. That was pimping to me. My dad was a country pimp. My friend Curtis was an international pimp. Tater never. Yeah, my dad was a lame. He had two women. That he had children by his wife, and he had another woman. But he was a simp. My dad was a simp in so many ways. He thought he was pimping, but again, when you got multiple women in a town of 50,000 people, you ain't pimping. You low level pimping, and that's where my dad was. He really thought, and I'm not bragging, but like I had 3 women for 10 years. I had like 3 full relationships for 10 years. And is that pimping? I had children by all 3 of the women. And they was my women for 3 years. You get caught with boys and don't get in trouble. It's like the whole country just adjusted Mississippi. You get caught with 5 boys and don't get in trouble. It's like that whole country. I don't know. Who got caught with 5 boys? I didn't know that one. That's one I don't know about. And my father was an agent for the federal government. My father grew up very poor. I think what happened is, in Dowagiac, Michigan, where I was born, I think what happened is my father and his brother were contracted to build all these houses. And my uncle had the great idea to build a store. He's like, there's a neighborhood and a store. Well, what they did is they rezoned where my uncle couldn't have a store anymore. And that affected my family. And I think like my uncle and my father built all these houses, and once they were built, they only owned so many. And so once these houses were built and they took the store away from the family, my family suffered, no doubt. And until my grandfather figured it out, my father grew up poor. Bows equal pounds. You get caught with 5, and you get in trouble. It's like that. Oh, okay. Yeah, nah. Okay. Nah, they give you, the way they just passed the law, everybody can have 5 pounds in the house. Now, again, if you got them all bagged up in your car and you're going somewhere, that's the difference. But right now, that's the law. The stores aren't going to really see anything, the regulations and shit in the stores. Because right now we get Delta 8, and all that shit. So like these are all you need. Like they have one where you can get 150 milligrams and it's just too much. Like if you're going to take 175 milligrams of this shit, take it in the morning. But these are just 50 milligrams a pop, and it's like smoking a joint, taking one. So all that shit fucking with your throat, it's not there. But yeah, so everybody can have 5 pounds. Yeah, that's what they just passed. So right now, if you have 5 pounds in your house, they really can't fuck with you. If you smoking a joint out in public, they really can't fuck with you. The laws just passed. So right now, a big deal is everybody getting the 50 milligram drink. Okay, you're going to get the 50 milligram drink, but look at all the sugar that they can put in the drink. Like when I take these, it tells you how much sugar is in it. There's 1 gram of sugar in one of them. So I'll lie. It's 2 grams of sugar in one of these. Now again, the thing for fucked up sugar is 14, 15 grams. If anything has over 15 grams, you really shouldn't be ingesting it. Look at your pop. Look at your sodas. I mean, if you're melanated people and you still drinking soda, what are you thinking? And don't say, I drink Diet Coke. That's even worse. You get putting that aspartame. And do you know how addictive aspartame is? Like I used to work with this chemical, and this chemical was 1,000 times sweeter than sugar. This chemical was so sweet that when you opened it, and smelled it, the endorphins that, like, if you snort cocaine or eat candy, it's the same. It was like it hit all those things. I took a bunch of this stuff and used to just snort this shit. And I mean, this shit is like just pure fake sugar, but it gives you the same cocaine high. This is the kind of shit they put in Mr. Bubble and shit like that. So, you know, like I know my brother used to say, you know, he'd work a double shift. He'd drink a whole 40 or what is it, 2 liter of Mountain Dew. Man, think about it. You work 16 hours, how easy it is to drink 2 liter of Mountain Dew, full of caffeine, full of sugar. You know how easy that is? I used to drink for lunch. I used to drink a fucking, 15, 20 ounce of Coke. I used to drink that every day when I worked. Back in 13, 14. Every day. Drank probably a Coke or 2 at night. This is poison. Sugar is poison. White sugar is literally poison to your body. And if you're not regulating in that now, if you just think you can drink a soda, nothing, you can eat a candy bar, come on. You got to be smarter than that. Melanated people, our kidneys are affected by this fake poison. You can eat all the fucking fruits and vegetables, all the fruits you want. Natural sugar is good for you. I mean, look at what it does to your body when you eat some cornflakes, all that fake sugar, and you compare to when you eat the cornflake and you put bananas and raspberries in there. There's a whole difference the way that sugar will respond in your body. And I'm telling you, if you're young right now, quit that shit. Quit taking this bullshit. It really affects melanated people. I knew a lady, the whole time I knew her, she was on dialysis. Do you know what dialysis is? You got to go there every day for 3 hours to clean out. Your kidneys are your filters. And if you've destroyed your kidneys with sugar and have to go to the dialysis, that's for the rest of your life. Almost every day or 4 times a week, you got to sit there for 3 hours. My ex-wife would sit with her grandmother. When my son was a little boy, my 28-year-old son was a little boy, he'd go with her to keep her company. Every day, 3 or 4 times a week, she had to sit there. Matter of fact, she couldn't even lay in a bed. This lady could not even lay in a bed. She had to sit up. Her bed was in a chair because if she laid down, she had diabetes so bad her legs would swell up and, you know, the liquid in her legs. So she had to, the 30 years I knew this lady, she had to literally sleep in a chair. So this ain't trying to scare anybody. It's just telling you the truth. Sugar is poison. White sugar is poison. If you eating pancakes and putting sugar on that shit, what are you doing to yourself? Again, anything over 7 grams is really bad for you. The thing is, added sugar. And it's like juice. What is juice? You can't even get juice. Read what it says. It ain't juice. Concentrate. Concentrate ain't juice. You know what concentrate is? It's some made up shit. Like Dave Chappelle said, that purple stuff. Look up all the juices you can buy. Most of the shit is from concentrate, which is mean fake. Some added. Ain't even orange juice. It ain't lemonade. It's something else. I mean, I'm from a person, you know, like I would pick my daughter up from school every day. We'd go to Wendy's and fucking have Frosties. Because these people wasn't telling me what I was really doing to my kidneys. I had to just stop doing that shit on my own. Stop eating that bullshit. Like, you know, in a Frosty, it's like 30 grams of sugar. I mean, like, think about it like this. You drink a soda. You drink a soda. And the soda is this much sugar. White sugar. 20 grams of sugar is something like this. This much. So every time you drink a soda, Mountain Dew, whatever the fuck it is, you're drinking this much white sugar. You see how much I got in the glass? This is how much white sugar you're drinking. That's why some people say, well, you know, you want to get Coke, get the Cokes from Mexico. Because the sugar's better. It's a pure sugar. It's not fructose. And fructose is even worse for you. It's a byproduct. Fructose is a byproduct. I mean, by now you should be looking what the fuck you're buying. You just shouldn't be grabbing shit and throwing that shit in there. You got to look at that shit. And that's a psyop too. I'm not going to lie. Because all of it's killing you. And it really doesn't, you know, it's like, I have to say the disclaimer. It's all fake. But I'll say this. Eating certain foods will fuck up your vibration. It'll stop you from vibrating as high. As I said, when I drink liquor, I can't meditate. The spirit in liquor, you can't really meditate. You definitely can't dream. You know that? You drink so much liquor, you're not dreaming. Sometimes even weed takes that away, where you don't dream. So you got to use these things in a way that, and understand triggers. Like me, one of a trigger for me is watching sports. When I watch sports, I think I should be drinking alcohol, especially beer. You know, I'm a beer drinker. I'm not really a hard liquor. Do you understand? So I see my trigger. I'm watching a game, and I feel like I should be drinking alcohol, beer. So that's my own trigger. That's my own alcoholism. That's me knowing myself. So, what did he say? Sometime I rap slow, sometime I rap fast.
Damn white boys out there. Most of them is psychopaths and all that. They'll kill your mama's mama, and you
Be satisfied. Be satisfied. Be satisfied. Be satisfied.
Sugar gives you, oh yeah, sugar, like the endorphins in sugar, what it hits in your body, it gives you the same high. But see, this is what we miss. See, like, okay, you smoke a joint or you snort a line, you get a certain feeling. But people don't realize when you eat sugar, you get the same feeling. You get the same feeling. The same endorphins kick off when you eat something sweet. Now, some people look at, you know, this is another way to look at it. And this is giving everybody the whole story. Because some people look at sugar as a demon. And it's a way of allowing the demon in you. So you take all this demon sugar and you put this in you. And no one can tell me they do not crave sugar. No one tells me that eat sugar constantly and sugar candies that you don't crave that shit. Because that's just the way it works. Sugar makes you crave it. So just like I talk about, when people smoke crack and crack addicts, it ain't even the addict that's getting high anymore. It's the demon. The demon takes over. The demon needs to get high. And it's the same way with sugar. So is it really you that crave the sugar? Or is it the demon in you? The sugar demon. And that's what people don't understand about candy and all this kind of shit. Is it really you that want it, or is it one of your attachment wants it? So you got to consider that too. And so I'm not, you know, trying to kill the industry. I'm telling you the industry is trying to kill us. And it does go to it like it does all go to, if it ain't real, what does it matter? You know? Because beyond this life is something better. Getting rid of this life, there's something better. I'm not saying kill yourself, because you kill yourself, you can't go into something better. You're going into more pain. That's the thing about suicide. The way you kill yourself is you keep repeating that. Some people kill themselves and they live in that loop of killing themselves. And they don't realize that. When you say, you know, Groundhog Day, their Groundhog Day for eternity is the way they kill themselves. And they have to experience that pain. You know, when you shoot yourself, there's a point where you feel that pain. Poison yourself or whatever, how you cut your wrist and you bleed out, whatever you do. This is repeated over time. You can't get away from this. But for those that, however it ends, there's something better. It ain't got nothing to do with any Christian or anything like that. It's just, excuse me. The more you meditate and the higher your vibration goes, you start seeing something that's beyond this. There's no doubt about that. There's like a whole nother blue sky. There's a whole nother reality behind this thing. And I can't tell you what it is, but I've experienced it. Now, there's also, how could I say this? There's a reality that I go to. Like every time I meditate, there's a certain gleam that I'm accepted in. And I look at that as home. And it has to be where I'm going to go when I die. Because it shows up too often now. It's like every time when I go through, there's a place I go that's constantly there. And I'm pretty sure that when I die, that's where I'll go. That'll be it ain't going to be no Borgia with the long hair and the beard. Because believe it or not, a lot of you that are Christians, that's what will happen to you when you die. They'll hit you double. They'll throw a family member in front of you, and then they'll have the Borgia behind. And if you believe in the Borgia, that's where you'll go. You'll get eat up by that Borgia energy. Because it's a parasite. You're feeding the European. You're feeding the European, and you're thinking that you have to go to the European paradise. That's what it is. That's what they try to show you. That's why they had a Bible in the slave Bible called the Black Bible. They want to tell you it's okay to suffer. And they still show melanated people that it's okay to suffer now. You ain't rich now. They tell Muslims the same thing. Well, you're poor as shit. You live in a cave. But you know what? You jihad yourself and you'll get virgins for the rest of your life. Well, a motherfucker living in a cave or poor as shit in Afghanistan or Iraq or whatever, a poor ass Muslim, why do you see why he blows himself up for Allah? If his experience is all this poor shit and being oppressed, and he's promised virgins just for blowing himself up and killing a few of them peoples, do you see why they do it? Because they look at it as anything is better than this. And if I can kill any of the oppressors, then, that's jihad. Killing the oppressors. And Islam don't get a pass. Study Islam. One of the biggest critics of Islam was Muhammad's uncle. Muhammad was trying to preach and his uncle was like, this dude is fake. His own uncle was saying, this dude is fake. And then remember, Muhammad did like to George Washington. He married a rich woman. They gave him the money to attack people. Read Muhammad's life. The word mafia does not come from Sicilian. It's an Arabic word. Because you read the Quran, and at first Muhammad is like trying to be cool with people. But people was looking at him as a joke, and all of a sudden he's attacking people. Look at his life. This guy attacked people almost every day of his life. He was on a military campaign. So is there anything about peace in what he proposed? Look at his life. His life was basically military campaigns because people wasn't accepting what again, a guy who couldn't read and write. Of all the religions, the most jumbled book is the Islam, is the Quran. It's jumbled. Least you can say from Adam and Eve to whatever the end of time shit. You can say the Bible is one story. You got them people's history clapped on to Christianity. And they try to say that Adam goes into Jesus. That's what they try to show you. The Quran is nothing of that. It is the most jumbled book ever. It's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just, okay, you can read this part, and then we're going to skip over years and go. It's jumbled. Anybody who reads it, you can't argue that. It's not a cohesive story about religion. It is a jumbled part about religion. So. Silence is my prayer. Meditation is my altar. My simplicity is my enlightenment. It's better to eat poultry and fish than to eat Isu's junk food. Shout out to Farm Runner. That's a good point. Hey, Don Player, what's happening? So yeah, you gotta consider that. And this is the thing. Even though this is all fake, and we're all living like Cypher, there's part of what you can put into your body that will lower your vibration. And that's really how to fight this, whatever it is. Because again, I am just this to y'all. Nothing else outside this door, outside what you see exists. Nothing exists but your names that I'm seeing. That's reality. Even though there's a person typing this stuff, all these comments, what really exists? If you understand that as a just understanding how life moves. And there's people that change the background and all that, and you know, it's a little bitty background, they put the little thing right here. But for you, this is all exists of me, is this. Nothing else I do exists outside of what you see here. Right? And so therefore, it's fucked up to say it really don't matter what you eat. Because all of it's Sovereign Green, all of it's people, you know, that's the other part of it. Like Cypher say, I know this shit ain't good for me, but I eat it. What's the matter? What does it make? Because this reality, death is great. They want you scared of death, but death is when the real reality comes. It's you get out of this fake reality we live in now and you go into the real reality. Now, again, I'm not saying anybody go kill themselves. No, because again, you don't go. If you kill yourself, you don't go what's next. People that kill themselves go somewhere else and keep suffering that pain through eternity. However you do it, you suffer. That's a suffering, eternal suffering. But there is a fact of what you eat and your vibration is reality. That's a reality. You eat certain things, it helps your vibration. And the least dense you keep yourself by eating this bullshit, the better you can be off. Better off you are. Because it's all about spin. You want to eat the right things enough to vibrate high enough to hit your peaks, whatever your peaks are. Wherever you are, wherever your enlightenment part is, that is why you eat the right way. Because if you eat certain things, like I said, I can't meditate when I drink alcohol. It's impossible. It's that spirit of alcohol stays there. Because I like beer too much. And I've noticed, like, I won't drink tomorrow. I won't drink Tuesday, Wednesday. But I still feel this shit. I still feel it's in my body. So as I'm trying to tune my body, I still feel this alcohol in me. So until I do something to sweat it out for a couple of days, it's still there. So it still lowers my vibration, if you understand. And this is my weakness as being a human. Because I physically like drinking. Like my fiance said when she was young, she liked smoking. She physically liked the act of smoking. I knew a lady dying from cancer. She said the same thing. This lady was like in remission from cancer. And she said, really, if it wasn't for cancer, she'd smoked all her life. She'd have never quit. She said if the cancer wasn't killing her body, she would have never quit smoking. She loved it that much. It was that part of her life. I was looking at a picture, you know, if you watch the Temptations movie, I finally found a picture of Eddie Kendricks as a young man. Eddie Kendricks, 19, 20-year-old with a cigarette in his hand. And here's a man that ended up losing a lung and died of emphysema because he smoked cigarettes. He was a chain smoker. The greatest soprano of our time, Eddie Kendricks, yet he was addicted to cigarettes. Chain smoker. Huey Newton is another one. Chain smoker, one after another. And that's how smoking used to be that accepted. Like when I had military contracts, and I had my security companies had military contracts, and I worked with military people. Like I had the air base in Battle Creek was one of my contracts. And so me and my people had to work with the military every day, every night. We had to check in with the military because all of us, we were securing the military base, the air base in Battle Creek. And it was blowing my mind how many of these people had to smoke cigarettes. Once a week, they had to run a couple miles. These motherfuckers was, cigarette smokers. It blew my mind. It's like one dude lost thousands of dollars in a rink. Cigarette smoker and didn't stay in shape for a couple weeks. Lost rank. I mean, that's just crazy. Crazy insane. Well, how long have I been going? I know it's, oh shit. Yeah, I'll be done by 2. I ain't really got shit to do tomorrow, y'all. Dang. I ain't really got shit. I don't drink a lot of lean, mix it with a lot of pop. Well, lean is heroin. And remember Tombstone, they called it lithium. Same thing. What you guys call lean was called lithium. Because around the turn of the century, or late 1900s, late 1800s, early 1900s, cocaine was legal and heroin was made out of a lot of things. So what you call codeine now was straight up opium, liquid opium. And in the movie Tombstone, that's what his girl, his first girl till he picks Dana Delaney, she was on lithium. Or excuse me, she was on, I forget. But she was on liquid heroin. They call it lithium. I'm scared. Lithium. Yeah, they call it lithium. Lithium, maybe. Not lithium. Lithium. And it was nothing more than what you call lean now. Nothing more than that. Codeine. Liquid opium that you could drink, and you got to keep drinking it. It's like you smoke heroin. If you smoke heroin, you get it on the plate and you smoke it. You smoke it 2 or 3 days, it's going to make you kind of want that stuff. But again, it's the difference between an addict and a casual user. You smoke heroin on Monday, it ain't going to make you sick. You could wait again if you smoke it on Friday, it ain't going to make you sick. If you're just a casual user. It's a person every day banging it hard, smoking it hard. These are the people that become addicts. So, well, I think I'm going to cut it. I'm tired. Shit. I think I'm going to cut it. This is crappy damn.
And you
for what he has. He says that the only way that we can solve our problem is to unite together among ourselves, among our own kind, clean ourselves up, rid ourselves of the evils that we've become addicted to here in this society, and try and...
And that's it. We become addicted to America. We've become addicted to the comforts of America. All of us. See, they don't understand. They want to say that things that we say and do are un-American. We love this land. We don't like the Europeans that occupied it and the Europeans that are in charge. And this democratic system doesn't really work because it's filled with corruption. We look at a poor person like Joe Biden as multi-rich. His family's rich. This person didn't go into Congress rich. The Senate rich. He's a poor guy who had to sacrifice his daughter and his wife to get rich. And now, because of him being a senator, like where is it in our Whereas in our government, if you become a senator, you automatically become rich. Look at how corrupt Nancy Pelosi is. She's got caught several times with knowing how stocks are going to do. And not one time did they get her or her husband. Insider trading. Just like I said before, they get what's the white chick that you can get her curtains and her bed spray? They get her, but they don't get the man that gave her the inside trading. They put her in jail for a year, but the person that gave her the information didn't go to jail at all. How is that fair? Martha Stewart goes to prison for insider trading, but the person that worked at the firm that did the insider trading doesn't go to prison. He doesn't get near the fine that she did. So you see, it was a psyop. It wasn't real. They wanted you to make you think they took a rich person down. And that's what they do. They fake these crimes. They fake putting these people in jail. They put these doubles in there. As I showed before, Al Capone didn't go to prison. Now somebody looked like Al Capone. They put the scar on him and everything. He went somewhere else. Really think Bill Cosby and OJ was in prison with everybody else? Tupac, because he was, again, an agent. So yeah, they put his ass in a prison. So, just some things to think about. Well, I guess I'm gonna cut it. I'm lazy. I don't feel like doing the divination. I'm tired. I need to go to bed. I guess my divination is, you know, don't believe anything outside of yourself. Don't believe in anything. Belief is something you shouldn't have. That word should not. I don't, you know, when I say I don't believe in anything, that's it. Don't believe. That's a curse word. That is a word. That's a lock. Belief is a lock. So don't believe in anything. Know in experience. And then that's what you have to go by. You know and what you experience. And that's what you go by. You can't believe anything. Study this shit and then look at it and say, this shit's probably a lie too. Because that's what a lot of it is. A lot of this stuff behind me I study is a lot of it's, you know, it covers up what it really is. It takes you down. As I said before, you know, I had probably 80 books of the Kennedy assassination and numerous tapes. And it was all a waste of time. It was all a waste of time. It was a psyop they did in the 1960s where it wasn't nothing more than Peyton Place. Trying to fake some live TV events. Wasn't real. Make you feel for a family that was a family of nothing but gangsters and bootleggers. And still rich. People forget that almost every bottle of scotch goes to a Kennedy. People forget that. Every time you buy a bottle of scotch, most of the scotch goes to the Kennedy family to this day. It's been like that for like almost the last 100 years. So you really think they suffered from two people really being killed? Bobby probably got killed, but the other one didn't get killed. And they probably killed, you know, the dumbass brother because John got the Navy Cross for being a dumbass and getting his boat sunk. Because that's what John F. Kennedy, he was a dumbass. He got his boat sunk by running his boat into his PT boat into a cruiser. Fucking Japanese cruiser. He was a dumbass. But he saved his people. So it made his brother, who they was probably trying to kill anyway, think he had to do a suicide mission to get him a medal. And really they was trying to kill him. But his ego. Now Robert Kennedy, I mean, you know, he went after the mafia. The mafia helped Kennedy get elected. Then they turned on the mafia and went after him. And they even forced J. Edgar Hoover because he was embarrassed when they got caught in Appalachian. And J. Edgar Hoover had to be honest. Again, a guy who was black passing to be white. And he's called a Cosa Nostra. Because to be in the mafia, you got to be Sicilian. Right? Not Italian, Sicilian. That's the island off of Italy. So when you watch The Godfather and you watch Al Capone, you didn't watch the Mafia. You watch Sicilians. Or excuse me, you watch Costa Nostra. And that's what J. Edgar Hoover said. Our thing. Chicago called it the syndicate. And as I mentioned before, you really think they put their top criminal, Al Capone, really went to prison? You really think that was him that lost his mind? They showed him fishing in his pool? Come on. People look alike. Just look at the pictures. Study Hitler. Look at all the different Hitlers they put out there. They blew up a bunch. They killed a bunch of Hitlers. And they always had another one. The Wolf's Lair, they definitely killed him. And they had another one pop right up. And you had Ford that backed the Nazis, and Ford also built American parts, the war effort. And peoples backed both sides from every war. So no war is really real. Because both sides will sacrifice their people. You dig? We know every war, even going back to the Civil War. The Rothschilds backed both of the Civil War. They gave money to the North and they gave money to the South. You check the Rothschilds again during the French Revolution. They gave money to the king and they gave money to the people overthrowing them. This is how they work. You think Vietnam was even any different? Rothschilds was giving money to America through their corporations. And they was also giving money to Russia and the Chinese that was giving weapons to the North Vietnamese. That's how every war worked for us. As I said, you know, you had to stop believing our government when you see in Syria the Department of Defense fighting CIA people. That should have woke everybody up to show you, you know, and the stories of the $30, $50 fret screwdrivers, the waste. Because most of our tax money goes to the government, to the military. Look at your money and how much money you make a year. And break down your money and see how much of your money goes to the military. The biggest polluter in the world. But yet you got Biden and them all talking about everything's supposed to be green. But you got a Navy that's the biggest polluter in the world. Is the Navy. They're the biggest polluter in the world. Their carbon footprint is the worst. But yet you got a government, Biden and them saying, you know, everything else got to be green. Damn if them aircraft carriers and them destroyers and them cruisers run on anything but diesel. Isn't the military, when the prices is high, don't they still have to pay the high diesel prices? Yes, no, maybe. You can dig. So do you see why we love this country, but we hate this government? And, you know, they'll come back and say, well, do you think, you know, if you overthrow it, something better will come? You know what would come? Is what they plan to come. Even if the people, like I said before, what should have happened, and I called for it years and years since this channel's been, every person, before the election, every person in America should have went to D.C. Every person in America should have shut the government down. That was what the march that with Malcolm was supposed to be, and King in 64, 63. It's supposed to be to shut the government down. But then the government got a hold of it and said, no, you just go from one dead president to the other. But the dude who was the Pullman porter that came up with the idea was to shut the government down. What was done in Michigan a few years ago, Operation Gridlock. They put all the vehicles in Lansing and shut the government down. And that's what should have been done. Every American should have went to D.C. and demanded that all these politicians resign. Because what we have is professional politicians that get rich. Biden's a perfect example of a poor person that got rich off politics. Where does it say that in our Constitution? That you become a senator and you get rich. Look at Omar. Omar married a brother to get him in here. Then she divorces the brother to marry a European. And what does she do? She starts putting millions of dollars in his campaign. So you can't take her as being real. She learned the game and started benefiting off it. And that's the corruption that we hate about this country. And the corruption always ends with the European. That's the problem. It ends with the European. It's you Europeans out there that do this corruption. No, it ain't my European neighbor, but it's you European as a collective that holds us down. It's Europeans that have been dirty to this company from the very beginning. You have a bloodlust that is unmatched. And then you try to hide behind the religion. And you ask us why we hate Europeans. And they say, well, you shouldn't hate anything. But yeah, we hate Europeans because we hate the way you've done this country and the way you treat us even to this day. None of that has gone away. Your treatment, your bloodlust. You're putting this stuff in our schools to corrupt our children. This comes from European behavior. I don't hear that shit about twin flames or twin souls and all that shit. That wasn't the American way. That wasn't the Mayan, the Olmec way. All this corruption and this gross shit, it comes from you Europeans. Then you don't even want to be real about your slavery. You call your slavery, what do they call it? Where you could have a term, indentured servant. They try to hide their history of them being slaves, call them indentured servants. Then tell you success stories. Well, you know, she married a bunch of people and this indentured servant got rich and she had plantations, you know. But the most grossest people ever on this earth is these Europeans that run this country. The most corrupt thing that ever came to the whole world is these Europeans that run America. You are the most corrupt ever.
Damn white boys out there. Most of them is psychopaths and all that. They'll kill your mama's mama and you.
Decent white folk that still don't know they're racist. Decent white folk that still don't know they're racist. Decent white folk that still don't know they're racist.
Damn white boys out there. Most of them is psychopaths and all that. They'll kill your mama's mama and you.
Psychopaths. And there's no color to psychopaths. You know, you watch King Vaughn and it's obvious that he was raised to be a psychopath. You have these people that think they control these concrete jungles that they don't control. But in their minds, they have a couple blocks. And they can go out there and they feel like they're the kings of this concrete jungle. And yet they feel like they have to kill other melanated people that live within the concrete jungle because they live in different areas. Where do you think this genocide comes from? Do you think that these people just grow up hating other melanated people because they live in different areas? Again, this comes from Europeans. There's no such thing as a white person. There's just Europeans. And some of you may say, well, you know, they're black Europeans. Yeah, but they're way, way back. We're talking about mostly the pale Europeans. The King Georges and those folks, all the way to the Russians. And remember, Russia is them peoples. Them peoples ain't just got Israel. They got Russia too. It's them peoples in Russia and them peoples in Israel. And if you want to do a real study of World War II, when they try to tell you that they were Holocaust and just going into Russia and just Holocausting people, no. Read what the soldiers say. When they first started Russia, they were saying they was fighting demons. The Bolsheviks were them peoples. Russia is them peoples. Don't ever think they're not. That is a country of them peoples. Trotsky, Stalin, all them peoples. Bolsheviks was them peoples. So when they try to tell you that they was just murking people, no, they were fighting demons when they first went into Russia. When the Nazis first went into Russia, they claimed they was fighting demons. not people. They said the Bolsheviks they faced were demons. I mean, this shit ain't no secret. Read it. It's out there. I ain't gonna do your work for you. Got these niggas out there think that I'm supposed to do your work for you. You find it. Because it's out there. Read some of the German soldiers that first fought them Russians, and they'll tell you it was non-humans they was fighting. And they wasn't trying to say, they wasn't trying to say they're trying to justify the killing. No, they were telling you they were fighting something that wasn't human, is what they're trying to tell people. It's out there. You can find this stuff. Just got to read it, research. I don't need to do anybody's work. You think I'm lying? Find it yourself. But the Holocaust tell you, all the clothes, they just lined them up. They don't mention the demons that was living in them villages that the Nazis was fighting. They don't mention that. Like I said about Miley, they just tell you that Captain Curry or Kelly just killed a bunch of Vietnamese people. But they don't tell you that when he was in another village, that 3 or 4 of his people got killed. They don't tell you that. So he goes in this village from where they killed his people and he wiped the people out. What the old dog say? I don't care who's there. I'm going to knock them all down. How would you feel? You lost 3 or 4 of your friends and this village has something to do with it. War has no rules. There's no rules in war. They can say all that Geneva shit. You think that Geneva Convention shit was in war in Vietnam? There's no rules in war. War is war. You just kill. Don't matter how you kill, who you kill. Hell, they killed Pat Tillman because he had enough of protecting fucking opium, heroin fields. He started speaking up about it. It's like, damn, if I lost 4 or 5 million to fucking protect these fucking dope fields. So they found a way to assassinate him and then make him a martyr. Because I thought he was a fake story from the beginning. Why would this football player quit playing? That seemed fake to me. And I still think it's fake. But he was naive. He believed in America that didn't exist. He didn't realize once he saw the wrong and spoke out against it, America would kill you. He didn't realize that. He just thought he could join the army and be a patriot. But then when he saw wrong and tried to use a celebrity to show wrong, they killed him. And that's America. So am I a grumpy person in some ways? Do I benefit living from here? Do I live the life I want because I live here? Absolutely. Absolutely. But you can't say anything I've done comes from corruption. Because a lot of our tax money goes to corrupt people. Insider trading and all this. And they just hush it up. Now, are other countries corrupt? Shit, yeah. Them people talking about living in Africa. Do you know how often these African countries, governments are overthrown? And you really believe these dudes that have a little bit of shine now? If you ain't got an army over there, you can be taken over any time. You go over to any of these African countries, and if you do not have an army with you, if you do not have enough weapons to fight off them Africans once you get established, that's coming. So all these people talking about they go to Africa and things are so great, it is so unstable over there. Where is it going to be great? And if you ain't got an army to fight off people, when the opposite comes in, they will take all your shit and kill you, put you in jail, and take all your shit like you was never nothing. That's what Africa is. It is not a place for any Americans to go. The motherland. Ain't no motherland in Africa. They know where everything came from. The oldest pyramids, the first pyramids come from America. That technology comes from America. But America didn't share everything. We kept the sacred ball game from them. They got it late. But yet they want to make movies that show you the first soccer camp. No, none of that. If it had something to do with a ball, it came out of America. And all our sports weren't just with the ball. Some of the sports had to do with rolling rocks and stuff. But when it comes to a ball, it comes out of America. Matter of fact, see if I can find this file. Let's see if I can find this file. I think I can pretty easy. Let's see. Might be right here. I don't see it. Not that. Let's go. It's got to be in here. Let's see. Oh, this might be it right here. Yeah, this is it right here, y'all. A 36-year-old rubber ball made by the Oman, discovered in a bog in the archaeological site of El Manti in Mexico. The earliest archaeological evidence of use of natural rubber comes from the Oman, who used it for making balls for the Mesoamerican game. Okay, this ain't discovered in Europe. This comes from America. This is silicone. The first European to see a ball was Columbus. When Columbus was in Haiti, Columbus called it a magic ball because they saw a boy bouncing rubber. And again, Europeans had no idea about silicone or rubber. This is how long? 36 years. You know, again, my coding people can be out there, but this is how that this comes from us. This comes from the Americas. The idea of a ball. It's in our DNA. You basketball players, football players, baseball, it's in your DNA, this ball. I know PJ. How many basketballs you have, PJ, if you're still listening? I have 4 or 5 basketballs. Still have a couple footballs. You understand? This is part of us. There's no way we can get around us. This is America. There's no way they can claim anything with a ball. Nothing in a ball has anything to do with any European. There's a show on Netflix talks about soccer and the first soccer leagues. Again, everything that has to do with the ball comes out of the Americas. All of it's created by us. Well, I'm really tired. I'm gonna let it go. The beautiful YouTuber Sexy Red TV invited her panel a few times. She showed me a lot more respect than those weak. Okay. Living in Africa for what? Exactly. They're doing it in Ukraine, Russia right now. There you go. Thoughts on extraterrestrials? Well, I've talked about this many times before. I have the ability to see people that are not naturally born on this earth. And it was a time, because I could recognize them, that they would get nervous. But they've been here so long that I don't even know if you call them extraterrestrials anymore. There have been visitors through this planet, through dimensions, through coming back in time, going forward in time. All that has been here. All that has been here. So I don't even know what you call them anymore. I don't even know what you would really call them, because they've been here so long that they've had other of them's, however they conceive their children, they've been here. So for them to try to say that something just came here and they're our friend, that's bullshit. This what's ever here has been here for years. So, you know. And then some people, you know, say, where did the Europeans come from? Because if there's any extraterrestrial people, it's Europeans. Europeans ain't been here that long. So somebody brought them to this planet, because history shows you that there were no people that looked like them up until they try to say 4,000 or 5,000 years ago. I'd say it's even less than that. I'd say it's hundreds of years ago. Europeans only showed up hundreds of years ago. So this planet up to then was melanated, and someone brought those people here. So if you want to know who the extraterrestrials are, they're Europeans. The albinos. Those are the people that came from somewhere else. Those are the people that Anunnaki invented. They try to, they change the writings. Again, Stinch's work ain't the only work. Other people's break down those things, and it's nothing what Stinson says. So Stinson tries to say the blackheads, but in reality, you know, you go to Yakum and you see they created. I mean, these people ain't been here very long. I mean, just look at the history of the world. It's not European looking people that are ancient. That's why they want to slap Jesus and try to say that Jesus, you know, that's why they want to say they've been here for 2,000 years, because they say, look at the Borgia. But I said before, you know, you look at the mud flood people, one thing that they really made clear is this thing ain't old is what they try to say. And they don't take credit for that. To me, that's that. They say if you don't take over the whole mud flood philosophy, you missed it. But the biggest thing they've taught us is this thing ain't old is what they say. And so the history that we see, it shows the melanated people was here, and Europeans, whatever the Europeans people, wasn't here in this reality. So, and whatever, you know, conquered, however they conquered, because right now you've got 1% of the people controlling the world. What do they say, 6 to 9 billion people? And the people that control the world are mostly Europeans. Not mostly, all Europeans control the world. No matter how rich they tell you people in Dubai are, no matter how rich they tell you these people are, no. There's a group of Europeans that have always controlled things that still control things. And that's the wicked, and it needs to be weeded out. The whole family lines need to be weeded out. They've controlled for too long. So if anybody needs to, you know, a revolution, it'd be a revolution against them. These wicked people. Because you have to admit, the Catholic Church is one of the most wicked bodies we've ever seen. Wicked from its creation. So again, you can't believe. Now again, all Europeans ain't bad. I live around, but as a civilization, the most wickedest civilization was ever shown comes from Europeans. And that's just a fact. Look at what the Europeans did to this country. They killed the trees. That story ain't really told. They tried to tell you the Dust Bowl, but they went to war against the trees and the animals. They almost killed all the animals going from when they came to the East Coast, till they went to the Midwest, till they went to California. They damn near decimated. They killed all the buffalo. They tell you they only killed the buffalo because, you know, so certain Indians couldn't have food. But no, the buffalo owned land. The buffalo owned land. The buffalo went from the West to New York and some parts of the South. That's why they got rid of them, because this was their land. For millions of years, they roamed the same area. That's why they decimated them. Because they understood, if you do the same thing every year, you kind of own where you go. So they decimated them. Because they couldn't show that they owned any, they didn't own the areas. Despite them going to the same areas for years and years and years. This is just the European thinking. And they even make us think like Europeans. You know, we look at World War II and say, why didn't Patton keep fighting the Russians? He was right. That's how indoctrinated we are about the Europeans' way of thought and war and bloodlust. And that's the one thing about Europeans. They're full of bloodlust. And it's not just them people. It's just the European in general. They want war all the time. They want conflict all the time. As I said before, why did a good old boy in Alabama care what happened to Pearl Harbor? Why would he care? What did Pearl Harbor have to do with him? But see, the European is easy to manipulate. They're puppets. They're the easiest because they're most simple-minded. They kept them at a certain degree of sophistication. Again, read the book, 400 Years of White Trash. How they really think of their dummies that fight their wars. That's what they look at. As I said before, my daughter said something very interesting the other day. She's like, you're looked down at if you're not rich enough to go to a 4-year college. I mean, again, it's bourgeoisie. My daughter goes to where people, you know, it's money out here. And as I said many times, when military day comes up, look how many of you was in the military and you was only in military because you was poor. Care who you are. Look at you. Look if you was a generation of military. Why was all your people in the military? Because you was poor. If your grandfather was in the military, more than likely you was poor. Your father was in the military, more than likely you was poor. And then if you was in the military, you were around my age, you was poor. Because when everybody else was saying they was going to college, you wanted to have something to say where you was going. You wasn't just staying home. And as we about to have military day, and I look at that shit and I look at Facebook and see all these people, military day, poor, because you couldn't go to college. But even though that's socio-economical, even that, because they count on that. It's a video they showed a few years ago about how the military would go to black malls and start recruiting. You think you see the Mall of America? You think you see the military out at the Mall of America recruiting at the Mall of America? You think you see that? Dudes have done videos years ago to show you how they try to go. So you see how they manipulate seniors? You're a senior and you ain't going, and you're hearing all these people going around Penn State, Ohio State, and you ain't got any offers to go anywhere other than the military. Military's for poor. I only got one friend who went to West Point. Now I got cousins. I said my cousin stories. My cousins went on Pell Grants. They went to school for free. One of my cousins retired he's a navigator on a B-52 bomber. My other cousin got his training through Michigan. Both of them went to Michigan State, and they got their free training. My other cousin became an M16 pilot, learned how to fly jets. He worked for Delta, flying planes for 20 years. Both these cats, both my cousins. But they were poor, dirt poor. Military was their only option. There was nothing for them, even graduating from Michigan State, there was nothing else these cats could do but go to the military. Their personalities wouldn't lead them to anywhere else but the military. Poor people. That the only way out for them was the military. You understand? They lived my life, they would be homeless. Because they couldn't have adjusted the way I've adjusted. I wasn't raised poor. My mother sold real estate. My stepfather worked for General Motors. So I didn't have to go to the military. I wasn't poor. You dig? Now, my brother went to the military, but my brother fell into that same thing. He wasn't going to graduate from high school, so he needed his GED, and he wasn't going to be able to go to college to play sports. So he wanted to do something, to go somewhere. You didn't want to be the person at the table saying, I ain't going nowhere. And he watched me leave. 6 years before, he watched me leave. So how do you think he felt? He had to go somewhere. And again, we weren't poor. And I told him the very thing. I said, look, do what your cousins is doing. Go to college, go to the junior college, go to the college, get an ROTC. If you want to go to the Army, come out and be an officer. You'll make more bread. And my brother told me, he's like, my recruiter, again, he was brainwashed. My recruiter says I can do this, I can do that. And he ended up being a sergeant. But his cousins became out officers. Because I saw it at A&T. I saw what the route he should take. If you're going to do this, go to ROTC and come out officer. You'll make more money. Didn't want to hear it because he was brainwashed by his recruiter. And again, he wanted to say he went somewhere. Look at these people from the Midwest in these small, poor cities. Where are they going to go if they ain't got money? How are they going to go to Germany? How are they going to go to Iraq, Iran, any of these countries without the military? But you got to risk your life. And you could die anytime. Say, I had a relative died in Korea in 1959. Wasn't no war going on. Accidental, fucking with equipment, some kind of way he got killed. And see, this is without the draft. Now, most of you are of age. The first year you had to sign up for selective service was 1979. No, yeah. That summer of 79 was the first time you had to sign up for, technically, it's the draft. I mean, be realistic. How many of y'all out there that went to the military, that happened to you? You had no other options but to join the military. How many? And that's sad. But, socioeconomically, everybody else graduating, going somewhere. I got to go somewhere. The factories ain't hiring no more. For people a little younger than my generation, my brother's generation, the factories ain't hiring no more. Because really, a good thing was like when I graduated, people was going right into GM making big money. Because really, I could have made more money if I'd have just stayed in Kalamazoo and started working for GM. I could have moved to Toledo, and kept working for GM. In 1979, if I'd have started working GM, I would have went in making $20 an hour. 79. I'd have started at $20 an hour. Now, granted, I wouldn't have never played football on TV. Wouldn't have met all the people I met. Wouldn't have met my ex-wife. But I would have started out of high school making $20 an hour. You dig? So, well, I've blabbed a little longer than what I wanted. 3 hours is good. Yeah, this is definitely the worst time to join the military. All those degrees and no common sense nor wisdom to go with them. I agree. An ounce of wisdom is 1,000 times better than Harvard's, 10 Yales, 10 Vanderbilts. Did you see the video? You don't know how real or whatever, but there were people flying towards the earth like Legion of Doom or Spider-Man. No, I didn't see that. It's hard to find women who are into the same occult sciences that I am too, so I might as well deal with them in a polyamorous way. Well, my fiance is religious, and I'm not. We really don't have discussions. As I've started the show saying, she gets mad because a lot of her people are gay. And it's not that I'm against gay folks. I'm against the agenda. That's what I'm against. I'm against the agenda that we have going on, that the Democrats seem to really support. And what do we say?
And YouTube.
Okay, I get that mixed up.
Guess he destroy black boys. If you destroy him as a boy, he'll never become a man.
Dwayne Wade's son.
Guess he destroy black boys. If you destroy him as a boy, he'll never become a man.
That's why we see all the feminization of trying to make our men.
Guess he destroy black boys. If you destroy him as a boy, he'll never become a man.
And that's the war against us. That's the war against melanated children. That's why all these books and all this shit is in there. Because see, European civilization has already been Babylon. That's just who they are. And it has taken all this time to put that Babylonian shit on us. Took them a lot of years to get us to be Babylonians. And that's what they are. These are the most gross, corrupt, unethical, unmoral people that live on this earth is Europeans. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, you can go to Africa. No, the European is the most corrupt, non-feeling, non-caring, murderous beings that's ever been on this planet. Comes from the Europeans. They are bloodlust in their DNA. And their bloodlust is to kill melanated people. And there's no way to get around this. So I'm not trying to offend anyone, but you can't deny the history. Because the bloodlust that Europeans have shown melanated people on this world is like, we should hate them. Melanated people in the world should hate Europeans. Going from Russia, all Europeans, melanated people should hate them. They've created all the worst wars. World War I was wars of cousins. Look at it. That's what's it called? What's the movie called? The spy movie. But they show you their third movie shows you World War I. You got all these relatives that fight each other, and none of the relatives got killed, but the Tsar of Russia. He's the only one that got displaced. All these other relatives in World War I got displaced. He was the only one. All of them was relatives fighting each other. World War II was damn near the same thing. Relatives fighting each other. And you got the Fords, the Rothschilds backing both sides. Because remember, the people that built the Autobahn, the money came from the Americas. The Autobahn, I mean, again, Russia was hyperinflation. Do you know what hyperinflation means? You got pounds of money that's buying bread. Pounds of money. That's hyperinflation. The government just prints money and the money ain't worth shit. That's what we saw, in pre-Germany. I mean, look at all these dead presidents on this necromancy money. I guess that was the one part of Dungeons and Dragons. They practiced necromancy. They had to wake up all these old dead people. And that's necromancy, to ask them questions. It was like the spell could answer a dead person, could come to life and tell him, his last thoughts and whatever the fuck. That's necromancy. And that was one thing that's interesting in the Dungeons and Dragons. As soon as I said it to my fiance. I was like, this is some necromancy shit like a motherfucker. They're waking up all these dead people to get this information. That's necromancy. Easter, necromancy. Christmas, necromancy. Your religion of Jesus is necromancy. You're talking about a being that was dead and came back to life. Jesus rises Lazarus. That's all necromancy. Easter is nothing but a holiday. Well, it was actually a fraternity holiday, Esther. But the way the Catholics do it is nothing but a celebration of necromancy. Something that's dead comes back to life. That's necromancy. And this all comes from Europeans. Again, individual people. I'm not talking about you. I love this land, but I hate the way the Europeans that run this land. And this is the thing, Europeans love to fight. They would love you to go out there and fight. That's why this shit, what they talk about January 6th, this is what they love. They love fighting. They love conflict. That's the European way. They want you to fight it. And that goes back into Yabatha. It wants you to fight. It doesn't want you to know peace. Or which is a piece of. But they don't want you to know calm. They want you to be on edge all the time. That's the European way. Keep everybody in fright. Keep everybody in fear. The biggest European move you just saw, we all lived in 2020. This was done by the Europeans that tried to blame the Chinese for a move they've been wanting to do to see if they could shut everybody down. They ain't come from China. That's these Europeans. These European Americans, most likely. But it's Europeans. The evil in this world are Europeans. What other way to get away? What other way can you say it? That's the evil. Now, it ain't your neighbor. But collectively, they are the most evil, bloodlust, thirsty persons that ever lived. When they came to America, that's all they knew. You start studying some of Cortez's people, you see they was eating people. And the guy that wrote the Time Walking Papers talk about how they was eating people for years. This was the first meat market. Columbus and them didn't bring enough supplies. These people wasn't used to eating what was on this, so they started eating people. And this seems like it ain't never went away. They had to finally pass some law. That's when I showed you the video Meredith Quinn tells you. They made them stop eating, having to eat people. And it makes you wonder with all these women disappearing from South Dakota, North Dakota. Seems like that's what they like eating. They like making steaks out of native women. Or the mongrel women, whatever you want to call them. The mongrel women. Some reason Europeans like eating mongrel women. It ain't for body parts. We keep thinking they take melanated people for, the melanin. No, they eat us. That's why a lot of people disappear. They like eating us. And they refuse to eat anything but us, melanated people, because they've been doing that since they came here. I mean, look at the Catholic Church, who they stole, women and children from the very beginning in the 1500s when they came over. They started stealing women and children then. Make people sick and then say, our Borgia can save you. We understood the cross because we understand the cardinal directions. We looked at the cross, we was like, okay, these motherfuckers talking about the cardinal directions. So, well, y'all, that's all I got to say. I got to end it. I'm tired. I can't do no more. So thank you. Israelis are not Europeans. I disagree. Anunnakis or Ashkenazis. Israelis is Ashkenazis. Most people that are Israeli come from Russia. Most people call themselves Jewish faith come from Russia, or they come from the Soviet Union. Again, you can find where Hitler sent 20,000 people to Israel. They don't want to tell you that Hitler was peacefully acting with Jews too. Hitler sent 22,000 people to Israel. Hitler. But yet they tell you he killed all the people, but yet he allowed 22,000 people to go from Germany to Israel. Now, if you study how many people was in Germany during Hitler's rise, it was something like 5 to 10 million. And if you study how many Jewish faith people were in Germany, it was like 100,000. So if he sent 22,000 to Israel, that makes 80,000 people. And we know another 20,000 was left Germany in 1918. So we're talking about 50,000 people. So how did 50,000 people being corralled or whatever you did turn into 6 million? And again, the numbers are less now because people know they're lying. But see, that's the one thing the Europeans learned about World War II is like, we got to quit killing each other, because that's what it was. It was a war of where they got to kill each other. That's why they when American troops first came back, why they killed so many World War I melanated people, because we got used to killing Europeans, and they couldn't have that on this soil. You got these brothers coming back that was good at killing Europeans, like the Harlem Hellfighters. Why do you think that it was the bloody summer when there was 300,000 troops that was trained, 300,000 melanated people that were trained in World War II, World War I. Given weapons and trained. I think only 100,000 people fought, but 300,000 people were trained. And you look at the summer of 1919 and you wonder what the Europeans, why they went after us, why they would kill us. Do you know if a brother went to the southern towns in his World War I outfit, they would lynch him and kill him because it showed power? Same thing happened after World War II. They started killing our people because we was used to killing Europeans. I had a cousin killed, one of the first Green Berets. You don't think once he's had an interest in the civil rights, they wanted to kill him? They murdered him because, again, this man was one of the most trained people in the world. And all of a sudden he wanted to use that training for melanated people? I mean, history shows you the wicked. And there's a group that run this country that are wicked, and there's no way to get around this. And all of them are pale. The wicked people of this world are all pale people. Now, Yadabath is said to be a darker being. Marduk, Yadabath, whatever you want to call it, is supposed to be a darker being. Wes Paneri says a non-Negro. I mean, these people were openly hateful when you saw the civil rights movement. If you want to know how hateful these people are, just watch the old civil rights movement. Look at what happened when King went to Chicago. He got rocked and stoned and bottles thrown at him. Never happened when he marched down south, did it? Did it? Remember Jesse Jackson said, I want to go to Cicero? What happened to him when they tried to go to Cicero? One of them all European towns? Chicago's still one of the most segregated towns in this country. So I guess we have to come with a solution. And the solution is that the Europeans are the enemies. The American Europeans are the enemies of melanated people. But with saying that, the European loves to fight, and they want you in a condition thinking you always got to fight. That's the European way, is to fight all the time, to be in a mindset of fighting. You're fighting racism. You're fighting, a male-dominated system. That's the European way, is always fight. That is their way, to fight in bloodlust. Bloodlust. That's the European way. And so what you have to do is realize you don't have to fight. Because you can beat them with just your mind. And it's like we say, fuck you Europeans and fuck your fighting. That's it. Fuck Europeans and fuck their fighting, because that's all they know. I mean, look at all they sacrificed in World War II. It was a sacrifice. Every war is a sacrifice. Monumental sacrifice to a beast. What do you think? Right now they're back in, instead of them going to fight the cartels, they're sending money to somewhere that has nothing to do with us. They're sending your tax money to a place that has nothing to do with us for their proxy war. Again, European wanting to dominate everything, controlling everything, killing everything. Vlad the Impaler, that's them. Europeans is that. Kill everything. They invade our country, we're going to kill everything, and there's nothing they can get. We saw it in Russia. When Napoleon went there, that's what they did. They did exactly what Vlad the Impaler did. Kill everything. So there's nothing there for them to get. Then they'll be hungry, and then they'll leave our country, and then we'll kill them on the way leaving. That was what was done to Napoleon, along with the weather warfare. Weather warfare was definitely done to Napoleon. Read War and Peace. It's obvious that it's weather warfare. And the same weather warfare was done against Hitler. They were able to have some wizard that did weather warfare against Napoleon, and they did it again against the Nazis. That was definitely weather warfare. Now, if the Americans help with it, I can't tell you. Well, I'm going to go. Thank y'all for joining me. I'm hyped up enough. Good. I get to go to bed about 4. And thank you. And yeah, I'll be on Monday. Yeah, I should be on tomorrow night. Maybe I'll feel hyped enough to do an early show. But I'm hyped enough. I don't hate anybody. The thing I do hate is I hate the government, the European government. It is not for everyone. It is to benefit Europeans. It is to hold everything back but Europeans. Now, to say anybody can work, yes. but it is a European, and that's where it needs to be overthrown, because it's capitalism is based on a slave system. That's capitalism. Capitalism has to have rich people and poor people. So it can't be the best system in the world if it has to have rich and poor, and there's no balance of just everybody. And not being communist the same, but I'm saying there's no balance of the money shared. Capitalism cannot have that. It is about rich and poor in capitalism. No matter how they try to break it down, John Smith, it has to have rich and poor. Capitalism cannot exist without those two. Because what did Abraham Lincoln say? You work while I eat. And that's capitalism. The rich don't expect to work, but they expect to eat. That is our system. You work while the rich, the 1%, eat. Isn't that funny how we'll work harder for a company than the person that owns the company? You'll go out there and bust your ass for them, making them rich. And they don't do nothing. You work for Walmart. They inherited that money. None of the children work for that money. They inherited it. And you got a lot of people like that, where they inherited their money. Because that's what the rich do. They set up, generational wealth so they can keep ruling. And we don't look at it like that. This is generational wealth is rulers. And that's the most beautiful thing about the French Revolution. They got rid of the rulers. There's a one time in history where they got rid of the rulers. They killed any nobles. Now that's kind of cool. I mean, they went overboard with it, but they killed any of the nobles. What if that happened today? We killed all the government people that had anything to do with government. What if the people, did what the French Revolution did? We were successful in overthrowing them. Is there a solution? Absolutely. If the people were able to overthrow them, the first thing I would do is take all the military bases away from the world. Wouldn't give a fuck about what's going on over there. You got business over there, you better take more troops. I would pull all the people and just all of the Navy would be around America. Our Navy would have nothing to do with anywhere else. You might say I'm naive. No, fuck that. It's European overthrow. That's what it's all about. That's why our Navy got all these bases. I'd pull all that out and let other countries do what the fuck they wanted to do. And it would be where melanated people weren't suppressed by Europeans. And our army would only operate in America. So I would cut it by almost 70%. So if we have problems with them cartels, we'd go fight them. We got problems down there where they cutting all the trees in the Amazon jungle, we go stop that. It had anything to do with true nature, that's what we would stop. And that ain't naive. A lot of military heads out there are like, okay, you pull out of the bases, those people that take control and take these businesses, so what? So what? So what? Capitalism is only supposed to be in America. And the only military I would let is being around this shit here. North America, South America, that's it. That's all our military need to be, is around this area. Has no right any other places. Has no right to pollute. As I said, the biggest polluter in the world is our Navy. They are the biggest polluter. So you don't hear Joe Biden saying nothing about pulling back the pollution of the Army and the Air Force and the Navy, do they? He wants to tell you to drive an electric car, but he ain't saying that destroyer ain't going to ride an electric car. It's going to need diesel. Cruisers, battleships, they still need diesel. They ain't trying to make that green, are they? They ain't going to try to make them F-16s, them jets. They don't fly with electricity. They fly with diesel or whatever makes plane flies. So, yeah, I'm bitter about Europeans. I don't like the European government that you Europeans made because it only benefits you. Now, I live a life of luxury, life of leisure, no doubt. But everybody don't. And just because I'm living better doesn't make my attitude changed. The hate I have from the government is the same. The hate I have for Europeans is the same. No matter how much money I have, it still makes me hate your government and you the same way because you are so corrupt. Capitalism equals corruption. And they tell you, you know, that there's nothing to replace it. That's what they tell us. There's nothing to replace it that's better. Yes, it is. Common sense. The people could overthrow the rich and get rid of all the rich and control this country, and the country would be better. If we did what the French did and got rid of all the rich and all the government, wouldn't be chaos. People would learn to work together and not have to depend on the elites. And you know, if there is a religion, the elites are scared as hell. If there's a religion and there's something coming back, because that's who it's going to go after. It ain't going to go after the common people. If there is some shit out there that can come back and that's religious, it's going to go after them. So do you think they want any real religious thing to come back? You don't think they want to control that? So you don't think they're on top of that? I know my man Ancestral Productions, he gets lost in saying, you know, if all these Christians and even the people in Israel, what they believe in is a melanated God. That's what they believe in. There's no European thing that old. They know that. So anything they believe, Jesus or whatever the Jewish faith people believe is going to come back, it ain't no European that's going to come back. It's going to be a melanated kind of entity. And you think this melanated entity is going to like what these Europeans have done? I mean, if there was any entity that had any real power, do you think it would allow and like what these Europeans have done to this world? I mean, the Europeans say, you know, if they never came to this country, it'd still be backwards. Well, you know what? We still have all these beautiful trees and minerals here. And we would still have these beautiful cities. Our water would still be drinkable because we wouldn't poison it. Because the European hates nature. The European hates nature. It is Europeans are anti-nature. They are destroyers of nature. When it comes to nature, the only thing they like about nature is a way to make money about it. If they wouldn't have destroyed the land during the 30s and 40s during the Dust Bowl, they'd have never planted more trees. Because they decimated all the trees from coast to coast. And then they fucked up and said, oops, we need to plant trees again. And look at the trees you see now. You see trees that was built in the, you know, trees is 60 to 70 years old, if that. You don't see trees that should be old as they are. Because the Europeans tore them all, cut them all down. From coast to coast. They deforested the whole country. And the country fought back by giving them the dust storm. They killed the land. Look at when the Europeans went to the Midwest and killed that land. It was only like 10, 15 years. 10, 15 years they killed that land. And the land fought back. They turned fertile land into desert. Makes you wonder, did they do that over in Saudi Arabia? The Mojave Desert. Did they do this other places where they just killed things? There's nothing left. Makes you wonder. Makes you think they did. Make you think where all these deserts are that they once did the same thing they did to the Americas. And they found out that, you know, if they kill all the land, they can't grow shit. So they had to start growing trees again. And that's what you see today. You don't see any old forest. Couple pockets out in California. But that's it. Because the European doesn't the only thing the Europeans love about nature is how they can make money off it. That's it. Nature is not beautiful than them. Nature is only to be used as a resource to give them more money. They don't care if they pollute the lakes. They don't care if they tear down these mountains full of coals in West Virginia and then leave a nasty overflow of the chemical that they used. Because you know that's what they do. They found a way to get this coal out of these mountains from the top down. And they use this nasty water left over that's just sitting there and the government allows it. They don't need to dig under the mountains to get coal. They know how to get the coal from top and go and just deplete it and go to the bottom. And they just leave the waste there. This is Europeans. There are no white people. There's no such thing as white people. It's just Europeans. They want you to think white supremacy. It's not white supremacy. It's European thought. That's what it is. It's European thought. It's nothing. They made the word supremacy. And they got all they got some of you fools saying this word over and over. It's a spell. White supremacy is a spell. It's just European thought. So don't fall into the spell. Don't repeat the spell. Because that's what white supremacy is. It's a spell to make you think that the Europeans are better. But if you study their culture, they're the most backwards people that ever existed. And our world will be better without them. They flaunt Tesla out there who told you, hey, we can give you free everything. All you got to do is put a pole in the ground and you can power your whole house. Westinghouse said, we need to build a meter. Even though there's free energy out there, we need to tax you people this free energy. That's where you get Edison. Even though we don't use Edison's system, Edison, Westinghouse, they found a way to charge you for this electricity that Tesla said was free. And that's what the Tartarian people try to tell you, that there was some type of free energy here at one time. You didn't need to pay. I mean, we're some of the only people, the Americas, we're one of the only people that we got to pay to live. We got to pay to have shelter. And then they make fun of the homeless people to say, hey, this is public land. I'm throwing up a tent. Fuck a house. It don't never get colder than 50 degrees. Fuck you. I can live in a tent all the time. That's anti-European. But again, what did I say? Europeans got to have capitalism, got to have rich and poor. So they have to allow homelessness because that's part of capitalism. That's part of the slaves. That's the broken slaves. Homelessness is the broken slaves. There's people that don't want to be slaves anymore, but don't know how to fight any other way, but say, fuck you, I'm going to live in a tent. That's the only way they know how to fight. Because the system is built on fighting it. And I know all this rhetoric I'm giving tonight is fighting it, but just like I don't try to fight this thing because that's what it loves. It loves for you to fight because that's all it knows. That's the European way, is to fight. And we have to get away from that idea of always fighting, of rich and poor. Capitalism, rich and poor. That's all it is. Capitalism is nothing more than that, rich and poor. And the rich don't work, the poor work. And if my life, this is how it works. The harder you work, the less money you make. That's my opinion of working since I was, I played sports, so I didn't have to work till I was 18. First job was when I was 18. And the harder your job is, the less money you make. And that's a fact. You don't work hard when you make more money. Now you work harder in other ways, but physically you don't work. It's more mental. But the less money you make, the way this country works, the less money you make, the harder you work. So it's never been a thing where they try to tell Europeans try to tell you, you pull yourself up from the bootstraps. No. The way that America is the harder you work, the less money you make. That's America. If you out there digging ditches and shit, you ain't making good money. And you would think it would be the opposite. You would think the harder you work, the more you got paid. That would seem like this true capitalism. I'm busting my ass. I'm doing hard work. But that ain't the way America works. It's the opposite. It's the opposite. The more higher your position is, the less you work. You don't have to do hard work anymore. Now, I understand mental, running companies and stuff, it's a lot of mental. I understand that. But the basic America is the harder you work, the less money you make. That's America. That's America. And success, it shows you work less. That's success. You work less. LA Movement had a video about working hard, not profit. Yeah. What happens after Europeans are gone? Who will run things? Well, it's funny. It's a movie you can watch with John Travolta. And the movie is, and I can't think of the name of the movie. Maybe you guys want to look it up. But it shows you it shows you melanated people took over. And the movie shows you the melanated people act like Europeans. That's the point of the movie. The point of the movie says, okay, if you melanated people ever take over, you're going to act just like us Europeans. And that's what this movie shows with John Travolta. It shows, again, the poorer people being Europeans and the more affluent people being melanated people. And they just switched the roles. They just switched the roles. They didn't show truly how melanated people would live in harmony with each other. Remember that book a guy wrote a long time ago where he said all the Christians, disappeared? What if all the Europeans disappeared? What if all the Europeans disappeared? Do you know how harmonious the world would be? If these beasts if the world was rid of all these beasts, how harmonious the world would become? Because it's easy to get rid of greed. Like they talk about the people in South America that do gold and they've got all these gangs. Do you know how easy it is to rid that? You go in these countries and there's all that corruption. It's not hard to rid that. To make the country work in harmony. I'm going to keep so many troops down here to kill all these gangs, and then they make everybody work in harmony. Because again, the gangs are imitating Europeans. Extortion. That's European thought. And that's what they've taught our people all over the world. Don't be in harmony with your people. Take advantage of your people. Again, the people that make the less money work the hardest. If I'm an engineer and I draft a building, I ain't got to do no more hard work. Shouldn't be like that. If you're a fucking engineer to draft a building, your ass should be doing something to putting that building together. So the people know you part of it. Just because you can fucking draw, you should be in there pouring concrete, doing something to make it even. Because society says just because you can draw and you can design the building, you ain't got to do nothing else. You just design the building, get paid for designing it. That's a European thought. Fuck that. I want to see you pouring concrete. You can draw up some shit. Okay, what can you do physically to make this building happen other than drawing a pretty picture? That's how it should go. Everybody should work. Just because you draw the shit, your ass should be there doing work too. Everybody. When I used to have government contracts, some people used to say I was cool because if it was some reason one of my people was out, we had one job where everybody rotated every hour to not make it boring. And one of my guys was out and I had to work, I would do the same thing as everybody did. And that's what it should be. You design a building, your ass should be on that ground with a hard hat on, doing some hard work. That's only fair to everybody. You shouldn't be up in the fucking high sky saying, hey, you people put it together. Nigga, you designed it, you deserve, you should be doing hard work to make sure that building comes up. Not just the engineer that writes the electrical parts or the HVAC part, the heating, air conditioning system. Everyone should be a part of the hard work that it takes to build a building. If you build a fitting from it. So, That's all. It's been the Chocolate Mountain Show. Thank you for joining me. Put up the sign of greeting, of showing that we are all pretty much the same. And it's just how we exchange the energy. So this is the Chocolate Mountain Show. I'm your main man from Japan, Big Pontiac. I should be around midnight or so tomorrow. Maybe a little before, maybe a little after.